International Raceway, WTBS Superstation presents the Atlanta Journal 500. The Atlanta Journal 500 is brought to you by Dodge, the people with high-tech front-wheel drive, fun-to-drive vision of what's been missing from the American road. Dodge, an American revolution. And by Quaker State, new cars, old cars, big or small cars. Today, you need an oil that's good. You need Quaker State. And brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beer and proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And a good day from Atlanta International Raceway with Jeff Bodine. I'm Ken Squire, ready to bring you our live flag-to-flag coverage of this great day of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Actually, two great events today. Event number one, the Atlanta Journal 500. 40 drivers set to go 500 miles for a $306,000 purse. Event number two, the Winston Cup Championship is at stake. 2 races left, and the challenger for the last 2 years, Bobby Allison, is leading in the standings by 27 points over defending champion Darrell Waltrip. Right now, the challenger is standing by on pit road with Jim Roller.
Thank you very much, Ken. Enjoying me is Bobby Allison. And Bobby, going into this one, you're on the outside of the 4th row behind Darrell Waltrip's twin 27-point lead. What does following Waltrip in this long race at the start going to do to your strategy?
Well, on the start, we really don't worry about who's in front of us or who it is. We just kind of take a look and see how traffic goes. It is a long race. Our commitment is to try to do the best we can in the race, and we certainly raced Darrell Waltrip and everybody else too. So we're not really concerned that Darrell is starting right in front of us. He's a tough competitor no matter where he starts. So we just want to have things switched around a little bit by the time the race is over.
Well, best of luck to you. And with Darrell Waltrip, the defending Grand National champion right now, is my colleague in the pits, Dick.
You guys are going to get blown out of here.
Thank you, Jim. It's a great day for racing this afternoon. I'm with a man that this race is very, very important for. Darrell, you got to do some catching up today.
Well, we just, we got to gain, but the biggest thing today is not to lose. Not lose any ground. If we can just hold her on or gain a little, then I feel good about going into Riverside. But I guarantee you the tension is very high around this race car and the one right behind me.
How about the confidence, Darrell?
Well, we're happy with the car. It's running well. We've been in the top 5 about the last 15, 16 races in a row. Just deal the cards. Let's see what happens.
That's the word from Darrell Waltrip. Up to you, Ken Squire.
Well, a week ago, Donnie Allison planned to share the booth with us, but then Jeff Bodine made a serious announcement about his plans for racing next year, and car owner Cliff Stewart decided he wanted to change drivers. So, Donnie Allison, the 1978 winner, he's suited up and ready to go, and it's our great pleasure to welcome the 1982 Rookie of the Year and the man who sat on the pole for the Coca-Cola 500 at Atlanta earlier this season to our booth. Jeff Bodine, a New Englander, who is really a name to reckon with, and with your new team next year, that'll be a big time in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Let's talk about today. What are you looking for in this race, Jeff?
Well, Ken, there's a few things we have to watch for in this race today. What kind of race is Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip going to run? Are they going to be conservative, try to just finish the race and gain points, or are they going out there to win the race? Cale Yarborough's hurt. He had a bad wreck last week at Rockingham. Is he going to be able to make the 500 miles here today? Our pole center, Tim Richmond, only one other guy has won from that position here at Atlanta. Is he going to be number 2?
Yes, and that man was back in the very first race when it was a 300-miler, Fireball Roberts, in 1960. We're trying to add some new dimensions to our coverage today, and one of those facets is our STP Pit Center. On pit road, let's go to Dave Despain.
Ken, it's the oldest cliche in motorsports. Races are won and lost in the pits, and that's the story that we'll be covering here today. We'll consolidate a tremendous amount of behind-the-scenes pit information in order to tell you not only how the cars are running, but why they're running that way. Right now, our leaderboard is set with the qualifying order, and Ken will run that down for you in a few minutes. But as the Chargers come up from the back of the pack, we'll change that board so that we're constantly focused on a dozen or so cars that have a real shot at winning this race. We're going to tell you what their crews are doing to keep their driver up front. Now, we'll be able to tell you who's running at any given moment, who's out of the race. We have assigned reporters in all the key pits, And our roving reporter, Jerry Garrett, he'll be up and down pit road all day and reporting back to here. In all, the STP Pit Communications Center gives us a new dimension in TBS coverage of stock car racing. Now let's go back to Ken Squire and find out about another new dimension.
Well, the other facet, of course, is the Vision Group. This is a new onboard camera being used for the first time, and one of the cars that it will be in today is car number 33. Harry Gant's automobile, the Skull Bandit, will carry this camera. We hope to give you some dramatic pictures on these 24-degree banks, on these straightaways with speeds in excess of 170 miles per hour from that automobile. Car number 33, Harry Gant, who placed second in this event just a year ago behind Bobby Allison, the winner, and Darrell Waltrip, who placed third on that day. Let's go to the pole sitter right now for this race. There's a story there. Tim Richmond has garnered the pole, and with him is Dr. Dick Bergman.
I'm with Tim Richmond. Tim, on the pole, only one man has ever won this race from this position. Are you superstitious? Are you worried about that?
No, not really. I just like to, I'd like to be part of history. Fireball Roberts, I think, was the only one to win from the pole, and if I could be part of that history, I'd love it.
Tim Richmond, ready to go racing, ready to fire it up. Up to you, Ken Squire.
And starting right beside him is Dale Earnhardt in the front row. Already winner of 2 Grand National races, Earnhardt buttoned up in the Bud Moore car. He only has 2 races left with Bud Moore before he moves on this year, or actually next season, on to the Richard Childress team. Our man in the 4th position today, of course, is Cale Yarborough. There he is, driving hurt. He said that last week, the wreck that he sustained at Rockingham, North Carolina, was the worst wreck of his career. He could hardly move when I saw him at breakfast this morning. This is what happened. Car number 28, getting tagged, spun, and he slams the wall so hard he still cannot move his left leg. He has to be helped in and out of the car. But he's getting set to race, and he qualified 4th for this Atlanta Journal 500. He really took a lick last week. And let's go down to him right now on pit road with Jim Roller. Trying to get a word from Cale Yarborough, and we're having a bit of a problem there as the field is ready to roll.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Let's go to Richard Petty's car if we can. Car number 43. There is the STP Pontiac, and our second Vision Group camera is on board the King. 198 wins, one of them controversial. Richard Petty is ready to go. Of course, the big story these days, he'll have a new team next year. And there you see Richard Petty rolling down pit road in his car preparing for today's race. Richard Petty, the 4-time winner of this Atlanta Journal 500, has qualified in the 6th row, the 11th starting position. And there you see the field rolling out. Let's now take a look at the starting grid of this race. Richmond and Earnhardt in the front row. And then moving back into row number 2 for the Atlanta Journal 500, Buddy Baker, who won it in 75, and Cale Yarborough in 1980. In row 3, it's Benny Parsons and the 77 winner, Darrell Waltrip. Row 4 is Bill Elliott, still looking for a win, and Bobby Allison, defending champion. Row 5 is Labonte and Brooks. And then in row 6 comes Richard Petty and Joe Ruttman. Back there in row 7, Bouchard and Gant. Neil Bonnet, who's won this race twice. Looking at row 9, you see Lake Speed and Ricky Rudd. In row 10, it's Jody Ridley. He's ready to go this afternoon. Trevor Boyce, the rookie, there with him. Donnie Allison, who won this race in 78. He's getting set for a run. In all, 40 cars have qualified, and there is just 1 5/10 of a second between the first place car and the 40th car. Now, the 31st place car, that number 2, Morgan Shepherd, qualified well back. He qualified in the last day of qualifying, but his speed was really terrific, 164.026, and he is expected to gun down a number of automobiles on the start of the Atlanta Journal 500. We'll follow that story. Stay tuned for the start of the Atlanta Journal 500. You are with car number 33 as he takes the green flag. From there, Andrew Young of Atlanta, and dives into turn number 1. The Skull Bandit, number 33, and there's Harry Gant going to work as the field springs out and prepares for 328 laps of competition. Harry Gant from 14th position. Battle for the lead. Baker goes to the inside of the Ford, and he is passing the pole sitter, Tim Richmond, at turn 3. As they come to turn 4. Walking down on the inside, there's Earnhardt pushing his bumper in there. Here they come to complete lap number 1, 327 to go, and it will be Baker in front. Richmond in second, 3 wide for second place. On the outside is Cale Yarborough. Back inside with Harry Gant's automobile as he tries to fight his way through. Joe Ruttman running directly in front of Harry Gant as he thunders down into turns 1 and 2. Harry Gant on the Skoal Bandit, camera on board, going by Richard Brooks, car number 90 on the inside of it. Back they are in turn number 3 and 4. Dan picking up 1 position, now running 13th, coming by. Live coverage on WTBS Superstation. Battle for the lead. Earnhardt on the inside, Baker on the outside. Ford Thunderbirds running 1 and 2. And now it's Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina. Back in 1976, he had an incredible crash on this track, driving the Johnny Ray car, one of his first Grand National rides. Here he is, still trying to win this event for the first time. Trouble in turn number 2. We have a car smoking down at the bottom of the racetrack, losing an engine. The field is up in 3 and 4. That's the focus of attention. As they come by, he may be hurt, but he's hitting that pedal, and he's into second spot. Cale Yarborough, number 28. Yarborough, the Timmonsville Terror, is going down on the inside, trying to find his way through, cannot make it through. He's challenged from the rear by Buddy Baker. In front, it is Dale Earnhardt. Cale Yarborough is in second, Buddy Baker is in third. They've now completed 3 laps. 3 laps. Earnhardt first, then the second spot. Here comes Cale Yarborough again trying to move through. Maybe having problems, but he's sticking in there. Back straightaway, we've got a problem. In the back straightaway, going to 4. Car number 5 has come unglued and caution is on the track. Greg Sachs is in trouble. Greg Sachs, car number 5, has come to rest. The modified driver from up in New York State. His background a great deal like our co-commentator Jeff Bodine out of the modified ranks. They have raced to the yellow flag, and we'll have a replay on what happened to Greg Sachs in just a moment, Jeff. The big story up in front, Cale Yarborough, who can hardly move. He has 2 men help him get into the car, and he's out here running on sheer pride. Bumper came off, and the car thunders into the inside retainer.
Yeah, it looked like somebody might have got into Greg, got underneath him and just turned him sideways, and from there he just slid into the inside retaining wall.
You could see the tire being stripped off the right front as it came to a halt. That happened 3.5 laps into the event. They are completing number 5 as they come by this time. 5 laps complete. They've gone 7 miles, 491 miles to go, Jeff.
Well, right now, you're seeing a heck of a race up front. You know, the tires are cool on these cars. The track is cool right now. And those front cars are just running as hard as they can to get the best position they can. When everything heats up, your tires heat up, the cars slow down, so they want to make their moves early in this race.
Let's go to the STP Pit Center. Here is Dave Despain.
Here in the Pit Communication Center, one of the stories we're watching is always big in all of stock car racing, and that's brand identification for the fans. The cars up front. Pole sitter Richmond in a Pontiac, but the Fords always run strong here at Atlanta. The second fast qualifier Earnhardt, the third fast qualifier Baker. One of the stories is how well those Fords will run all day long. Both cars have been very fast here in past races, but they've had problems finishing. All of us have our own picks, and I'll give you a hint. One of mine comes from the Ford camp. I won't tell you which one. Back to you, Ken.
Out in front as we look at the lineup coming around into turn number 3. It's been a tremendous start to this race. I'm amazed at Yarborough's performance thus far, Jeff.
Well, he's one tough customer. I'll tell you what, he's probably the toughest guy out here in the Grand National Circuit. He's been around a long while, has a lot of experience, but he's awful tough.
Well, a lot of people remember that awful crash he had in qualifying at Daytona, and that was something, and I've seen him take some other licks. But he said, bar none, the hardest he has ever hit was Rockingham. He didn't break any bones, but inside the cartilage in his chest has all been ruptured. He said, I'm going to come out, I'm going to run, it's in my deal, and I'm going to do it here at Atlanta.
Well, that race, the wreck at Daytona, everything was awful slow motion, awful easy. He didn't hit the wall real hard. That wreck at Rockingham last week, he made impact with that wall real hard, and that's when you get hurt. It isn't all the flipping and emotions like that, but it's when you stop against the wall.
Let's see if we can get a word with Harry Gant. We understand we may be able to talk to him now. Harry Gant, can you hear us? This is Ken Squire at the WTBS location. Come in, Harry. Well, he can hear us, but we're not getting a communication back from Harry Gant. This is a brand new system, first time it's been out, and we're getting dramatic pictures out of Gant's car. Harry, you looked awfully good on the start. I know you can hear us. We're having some trouble getting back to you as we look at you. Number 90 is scooted through again. And good luck to you and Travis Carter today in the Skull Bandit. I know that your car owner, Hal Needham, is here today, and you really want to put one together.
Yeah, they're tremendous shots. I'll tell you, Ken, it makes me want to be out there with him.
Jeff Bodine is working with us today, the 1982 Rookie of the Year. We're checking on laps before they'll turn them loose here, and I think we have at least 2 more laps before they will set them free. We have now completed 6 laps as they pick up the car of Greg Sachs, who's been trying to make it into the Grand National ranks from up in New York State. Earnhardt is first. In second is Yarborough. Baker is third. Bobby Allison to fourth. Benny Parsons is fifth. The pole sitter is back to sixth, Richmond, and running in seventh. It is Waltrip with eighth, Labonte. Ninth is Richard Petty. Maintaining 10th is Joe Ruttman. That's the front 10 with now 7 laps complete in the next to last race in the $10 million Winston Cup Series for 1983. We'll be back with more of the exciting action here in a moment from the Atlanta International Raceway. The Atlanta Journal 500 now 7 laps in with the leader out in front. Car number 15, Dale Earnhardt and Cale Yarborough in second. Atlanta International Raceway. 8 laps have been completed. A savage wreck in turn number 2 on Greg Sachs' car. We're waiting for a medical report on Greg Sachs now. The leader is Dale Earnhardt. In second is Cale Yarborough. Third is Buddy Baker. Fourth is Allison. And fifth is Benny Parsons at this time with Tim Richmond, who set on the pole just back of that front 5. We are under caution, have been under caution for about 4 laps now. Letting the tires cool off, that's got to be a problem.
Well, actually, Ken, on a restart, they'll be able to go pretty quick. It's these Grand National tires, when they get hot, you slow down. When they cool off, you go a little quicker.
There are 30 events on the Winston Cup Tour. This is event number 28 that we're looking at today, the Atlanta Journal 500, or rather event number 29. 28 events have been completed, and the 30th and last event will be Riverside, California. And the point standings battle has Bobby Allison out in front by some 27 points over Darrell Waltrip in the second position. Well, once again, we are under caution after a very hard hit on car number 5. It really messed that automobile up.
It sure did, Ken. You know, you're going awful fast here. He probably hit the inside wall going about 150. There you can see it. Crosses right across the track in front of all the traffic.
And he's head on, headed for the wall.
Well, that's a hard impact right there.
There's the bumper off, as if he did get tagged from the rear for some reason. That sent him on his way. Let's go to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
The first round of pit stops have come very early in the race because of this yellow flag. However, none of the front runners, none of the key players have come in, with one exception. Kyle Petty did make a pit stop. Kyle started 30th today, but you can look for him to move up before it's over. No big problem on Kyle's car. He was directly behind Greg Sachs and got oil all over the windshield. Kyle couldn't see. He came in the windshield, and they've sent him back out. Greg Sachs is one of the family stories in this race. His brother is the crew chief on the car. The same is true of Bill Elliott and Jody Ridley, and that's just part of that family story here. Rick Baldwin's crew chief is his father, Jim. Buddy Arrington's crew chief is his son, Joey. And the crew chief elsewhere on Kerry Labonte's car is Richard Petty's cousin. That's Dale Inman. A couple of the cars are owned by drivers' wives. That's the case with Blackie Wangren and Jimmy Means. And Leo and Richard Jackson are a pair of brothers. They're crew chiefs on the 2 Skoll brother cars in the race. There really is a tremendous family tradition here, but one of those families, the Sachs family, have met with early disaster. Back to you, Ken.
The first car out of the race was Blackie Wangren's 39. He had trouble coming off pit road. So the Minnesota driver is out. Joe Board, number 88, the Indiana farmer, is out in Greg Sachs' car. In only his 5th Grand National start has been eliminated. The Modified Terror, who won 28 of 31 races in the Northeast in 1982. And as I recall, he took a couple from you.
He sure did. I used to race against Greg, and he's a real tough competitor. It's a shame he went out this early in the race. I know what Greg is after. He's after experience in this Grand National circuit. that's a key factor, I guess, in success is getting experience. And to go out this early in a race, you just lose your whole effort of this whole weekend, and it's going to put them way behind. They want to run a lot of races next year, and this wreck here, I'm sure, is going to put them behind, and it's a real shame.
We gave you the front 10. Let me review a little further back for you. 11th position now is Bill Elliott. Neil Bonnet is running 12th. Ron Bouchard, 13th. Phil Parsons is 14th. Big news on Parsons, incidentally. 15th is Richard Brooks. Back in 16th is Harry Gant. 17th, Ricky Rudd. 18th, Lake Speed. 19th is Ridley. 20th is Allison, and 21st is Trevor Boyce. Let's again quickly review the early attrition from the event. Blackie Wengren's car is out. Joe Boer's car has also been eliminated, as well as Greg Sachs, and we have a report that Mike Potter's car has been having some problems. Mike Potter's car may be on its way back to the garage area here. There are now 12 laps complete. We've completed 12, 316 laps to go. 316 laps remaining in the event.
Again, on a restart, I think you're going to see Cale Yarborough go for the lead. It'll probably be on the back straightaway coming off the second corner. You get a real good drafting effect over there, and I'm sure he's going to go for that lead.
Ready for the green. Here they come. Down for a restart. Track is clear, and as we come to lap number 13, we are going back under green another time. Going into turn number 1. Cale Yarborough makes a move on the inside and tries to get through. Earnhardt will have no part of it. Meanwhile, that third position automobile lies Buddy Baker. In fourth is Bobby Allison. Allison is running in the fourth position. In seventh is Darrell Waltrip. His nemesis now, Gant, back in 16th position, trying to get that 33 car to handle. The Travis Carter machine, there you are with Harry Gant. Better than 170, 175 miles per hour down the main straightaway. Gant moving in on Ricky Rudd in car number 3. That's Rudd filling out his time. Here's Gant going up the outside. Gant trying to buck his way into another position.
That's the hard way around that corner, Gant, up high. The groove right now is real low around this whole racetrack.
Here's Gant again challenging, again trying to move through on the outside. And look at the amount of use they have to put in the old wrist and forearm to get those cars hustling through. He's around car number 3, Childress, and picking up a spot. Still side by side in the main straightaway. Rudd doesn't want to give it away.
No, he definitely has a groove right now, but apparently Gant's car is handling better than Rudd's, and he just made the pass.
Harry Gant picking up one in the Skoal Bandit, number 33. Meanwhile, up in front, change of leadership taking place. Out in front, car number 28 making his move. Cale Yarborough. Here is Gant still trying to slither through cars. He has a man pinned on the outside. Here's your leader now. Cale Yarborough in front, Earnhardt in second, Allison in third as they whale down into turn number 1. A long caution in the early going after Greg Sachs crashed in the back straightaway. Almost beneath our camera, he socked the wall. Third spot, Allison. Fourth spot is Parsons. And Darrell Waltrip may be taken down a peg as Terry Labonte is having a frisky little fight with him up in turn number 3. Waltrip may be going back to 8th right there. Leader coming by, Cale Yarborough. That's incredible. Qualified 4th. Hardly ambulatory, but can he race?
Well, I talked to him yesterday. He said he actually felt better inside the car.
There goes number 15, back in front. The old tough customer, Dale Earnhardt, is back into the lead another time. And a new challenger, Allison, moves to the inside. Bobby Allison, this is happening in lap number 18 as you're watching live coverage on WTBS Superstation of the Atlanta Journal 500. Next to last stop on the $10 million Winston Cup Tour for 1983. Into turn number 1, Parsons down on the inside. He's trying to pick up a spot. Trying to move under Cale Yarborough, going a bit high. There's number 90, who's had his own little fracas with car number 33. Good fight. You're looking out from the Skoal Bandit into that chameleon car, number 90, being driven by Richard Brooks, originally from Porterville, California. Now lives in the southeast.
Harry's got the line through this corner. He should be able to come out on top of this battle.
New leader coming by. Give it to Bobby Allison. Allison scooting down the inside out of turn number 4, and Allison goes back in front. Bobby Allison in first. What a story. The last 2 years, the runner-up for the championship. Tried to win it since 1966. In 66, he won 3 Grand National races. Won his first one in Oxford, Maine. Little car he built himself. Now, with tremendous support with the Nygaard Racing Team, here he is trying to pull it off. Win this race as he did a year ago, as he did in 1972 for Junior Johnson. Now the man who has Darrell Waltrip as the driver and is the fellow he is contesting the title with.
You know, Ken, people might think Bobby's taking a chance right now by going out for the lead and being in front, but actually, it's the safest place to be. If there's an accident, it's going to be all behind him. Plus, if your car will run, you might as well let it go up front. It's really the safest place to be.
There's car number 11. Car number 33 seems to be off the pace just a bit, looking up in front. There is Darrell Waltrip's car. He's in 11th. Waltrip seems to be settling back, and he's falling to 12th now. Waltrip off the pace a bit. Darrell Waltrip moving back. You can see number 1, Lake Speed, the Mississippi driver in the Haas Ellington car, going after him down in turn number 1. Harry Gant is in. Harry Gant pitting, car number 33. Skull Bandit pulls on pit road. Car number 33 is on pit road. You're with him as he comes in, and the hood goes up. What a bad break for Hal Needham and company on the Skull Bandit today. Looking beneath the hood on car number 33.
Well, Ken, whenever they go on their hood, that's a major problem, and they're not hurrying. They're putting the hood down, so I imagine he's probably done for the day.
And they're waving him off, I believe. Here's Gantz, number 33, coming back to life. Coming down pit road at a leisurely clip. They're going to send him back out, but there seems to be something amiss with the car. We'll have our pit reporters down there to see if they can update you on that story. Gant back on the track. Meanwhile, for leadership, car number 15 is your leader. The 15 car is out in front. Earnhardt for the lead. Second place car is Bobby Allison. And going third, Cale Yarborough in the early laps of the 1983 Atlanta Journal 500. Earnhardt and Allison struggling for the lead. Just an incredible battle is going on for the lead in the Atlanta Journal 500 here today on this mile-and-a-half track. There you see Bobby Allison, number 22, the leader of the Alabama gang, and Dale Earnhardt, wheel to wheel in turn 3. And it is Bobby Allison, again, commandeering this 500-mile race. Earnhardt is in second, and wheel to wheel for third. You see Cale Yarborough on the inside and Buddy Baker on the outside, 2 former winners of this great racing classic. $306,000 at stake. Allison gets about a 5-car length advantage over Earnhardt in second, then Baker in third, Cale Yarborough in fourth. Now the attrition is continuing to climb. Car number 33, Harry Gant, Skull Bandit, has retired. It has gone back to the garage area. We'll have an update on that story. And the other major at the moment, it looks like Donnie Allison is having some problems. Here you see the crew working on the number 33 car. That's the Harry Gant, Skull Bandit. It's had some real problems today. What a bad break for that team. Everyone was here. Lou Vandal and Hal Needham had flown in from California, hoping their luck would turn today after their great third-place finish here last year. Back to the leaders another time, and out in front it remains car number 22. Car number 11, now here's an interesting note, Jeff, is back in 17th position. Waltrip is sliding back.
Well, Ken, there could be a lot of reasons for that. Darrell Waltrip is noted to fall back in the beginning of some of these races, especially when he's involved in a point chase like he is. He's noted just to hang back and save his equipment, but he could be having a problem with some tires. You have to start, the top 10 qualifiers have to start the race on the tires they qualify on, and sometimes they're untested tires. They've only got 2 laps of racing on them, so they don't really know if they're going to work good with their race car. And that's why sometimes you'll see a guy like Bobby Allison come from from 4th spot on up to the lead and run as good as he is. And you can see where Tim Richmond, he's gone from first to pole position back to about 4th or 5th spot. So apparently some of these guys' tires just aren't working quite right.
Let's go to Jim Roller, who's standing by right now with one of the drivers who had hopes today that have been dashed.
Harry, tough break. What happened?
Well, the engine let go. We thought we was going to run pretty good, but the race started. We didn't run as good as we thought we was going to, but something happened. The engine broke.
It's a cool, crisp day. What about the track conditions for the rest of the competitors?
Track's real good shape. Car was handling real good. Good cool temperature gives everybody a lot of speed. And, yeah, I think it's going to be a good race today.
Back to you, Ken.
47 is off the pace. Car number 47 is slowing down in turn 4. That is the Ron Bouchard car. Bouchard looks like he is going to pit. Car number 47. Meanwhile, up in front, there you see Bobby Allison leading. His nemesis, Darrell Waltrip, is back in 17th position as they come around some back markers up in turn 4. To the inside comes Earnhardt. Bouchard is retiring. Back to 15th comes car number 11. Waltrip is back to 15. The two leaders are down in turn number 1. A glorious day. Picture perfect. And it is car number 22 that fills the picture right now as the leader. Bobby Allison, do you feel more confident going into this race than perhaps in all those previous years when you came so close to the championship?
Well, we are still in the lead here, which we never have been in the past, but of course, that still doesn't mean anything except that we still have to run hard. We gotta do the right things on the racetrack. We gotta have a good race, and you know, it's still within reach, so we're still going for it.
Bobby Allison, who right now leads the event. There you see him lapping Buddy Arrington. Arrington has a great record. He's never fallen out of this race in the many years that he's run it. Bobby Allison stays up in the first position with now 33 laps complete. 33 down in the Atlanta Journal 500 today. Live flag-to-flag coverage, 295 laps to go, some 448 miles.
Well, Ken, you can see Bobby's car's tailing absolutely perfect right now. He can go any place on a racetrack. And the funny thing about Bobby Allison, he runs more practice laps during the week than any other team here. He really concentrates on setting his car up for the race, and it sure paid off for him right now.
Remember now, they qualified for the pole at 168 miles an hour. Right now, they're checking some laps out and see. We're going quickly back to Jim Roller in the pits.
Donnie Allison out early, got to be a disappointment. What happened?
Well, I am really disappointed. You know, Carl was really running well. It was handling pretty well. It got a little bit loose to start with, which I kind of halfway expected. You know, me not being in one so long, I didn't really know what to expect. And I am really disappointed in the open Gatorade, Cliff Stewart, and the whole group.
Tough luck. Rough way to end the day, and the garage area is really starting to have quite a few visitors. Greg Sachs' report is he's got some bruises, a cut on his chin, but other than that, it was just a disappointing way to end his day. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you very much. Donnie Allison out, Gant is out now, Ron Bouchard is out. Let's get an update from the STP Pit Center. Here's Dave Despain.
So the red begins to come up on our leaderboard. Donnie Allison and Harry Gant going out of the event here. It's a good news, bad news story for the Allisons, because right down here, Bobby Allison, who started in 8th spot, has gone to the lead. That's an interesting strategy for a guy who has the Grand National point lead. We asked his crew chief, Gary Nelson, before the race what he wanted Bobby to do, and he grinned and he said, "We came to race." Obviously, they've gone to the front. They're willing to take chances. They're using a computer to help them calculate their race strategy, and we'll be talking more about that a little later on. But right now, it's obvious that the computer is giving them a one-word message, and that word is go. Let's go back to you, Ken.
Trying to win his 7th race of 1983. Bobby Allison still commands the event. Earnhardt is 2nd, Richmond 3rd, Cale Yarborough 4th, with Buddy Baker in 5th, Parsons 6th, Terry Labonte 7th, Joe Ruttman in 8th. More in a moment. Continuing coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 is brought to you by Old Milwaukee Beer and Old Milwaukee Light, two of America's great tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this. 41 laps are complete in a doozy of a race here in Atlanta. Car number 11, the Cale Yarborough, or rather the Darrell Waltrip car that you see here, is running in the 17th position. He is back in 17th. Bobby Allison, who leads in the point battle going into these last two races, up in front. Allison running by himself at the moment in first place. There you see the Dygaard Racing Team car. Allison's number 22 in first place. Maintaining the second position now, Tim Richmond has picked up a spot, and dropping back one as they continue to really have a controversy for second place is Dale Earnhardt. Now Earnhardt is coming back just a bit further, beginning to fight for third with him is the number 28 car.
Well, Ken, an interesting note. Bobby Allison's turning this racetrack at about 159 miles an hour, which is quite a bit slower than what they qualified. But Darrell Waltrip, who's way back in the pack, is only turning the track at about 156 miles an hour. That means Allison's gaining a half a second a lap.
Now there's car number 11, Darrell Waltrip, in the 17th position. Let's go to Dave Despain.
More information on the Waltrip problem. Darrell Waltrip is dropping back in the field, and Jerry Garrett has talked with crew chief Junior Johnson to find out why. What's the problem for Darrell Waltrip, Jerry?
He seems to have a terrible push in the car right now, Dave, and that's on this speedway slows the car down terribly. At the first pit stop, they'll adjust that push out. He should be okay.
Tell me what push means.
Hey, car, I didn't hear you.
Tell me what push means.
Push means the car won't turn in. When it goes into the turns, it just kind of heads for the wall, straight on into the wall.
It's a chassis problem for Darrell Waltrip. The car is not handling well, and because the turns here at Atlanta are so long, it's slowing him down terribly. They will try to make an adjustment on the first pit stop. We're in lap 44. Those pit stops should come around lap 65. Let's go back to you, Ken.
There he is in 17th spot and hoping for a caution to come in and make some adjustments on that car under real pressure here. What is the real pressure like, Darrell Waltrip, and how are you handling it here at the end of 1983?
As far as we're concerned, I know there's a lot at stake, and the most important thing of the whole season is to win the Winston Cup Championship, but we've already cinched the lap leader award. We're on the verge of maybe cinching the Busch Pole Award. The pit crew's is in good shape in the Ingersoll Rand deal. We've got a lot going for us. And the other thing is, we're not beat. A lot of people get the attitude, or they seem to take the attitude that you're going to lose, or they're going to beat us, or whatever. We don't ever do that. We never think about getting beat. We're not beaten until we get out there to Riverside and that checkered flag falls and he happens to have a point or two more than we do. Then we're beaten, and then we'll be worried. The real pressure is going to come at Riverside.
Well, there's real pressure on him now because he is well off the pace. Buddy Baker has just made a quick pit stop in car number 21 and come back on the track, Jeff.
Well, Ken, it looked like we've got a wreck in turn 2, Ken.
Crash in turn number 2 is going to bring out the caution.
Looks like Dave Marcus.
Marcus, who made a heck of a run, he had passed about 13 automobiles, has ended up down in the grass, and nothing but misfortune continues to follow him around these days. He pulled up into the 15th position in car number 71.
Well, that sure is a break for Darrell Waltrip. I guarantee you, he's breathing a lot easier right now.
And here is the Eddie Birschel car out of San Antonio, Texas, has come to a halt. Let's take a look at what happened. I think we have a replay that'll give us an opportunity to see what happened. There's Marcus's car. Breaking loose in turn number 1, car number 71. Marcus coming to rest down in the grass in that machine.
I don't see where that other car is. He's way over on the back straightaway. I don't know if they got together, or if he made contact with the wall after Marcus won.
Well, the 1976 winner in the event, Dave Marcus, has brought out the second caution flag of the day. Dave Marcus in turn number 1 and 2 coming to a halt, and all the leaders pull on pit road. Bobby Allison, Bouchard, Yarborough, Benny Parsons, Jody Ridley is in, Rutman. Here comes Neil Bonnet with the number 75, and this is the next to last race in which you'll see 75, Neil Bonnet, with that number back to number 12 next year.
Ken, that's a bad break for Buddy Baker. He had just come into the pits, and they take an extra time. They changed 4 tires. And now he's going to be at least 1 lap down.
Tire change on the Earnhardt car, number 15. He moves on to the Richard Childress team next year. Problems as he started to come out. Car number 22, here's Allison moving away. Allison gets out, and they're looking underneath car number 15. Something is amiss.
Well, Ken, I'll tell you, there could have been a couple problems here. That happens quite frequently when they drop the jack down and the driver takes off. He can either bust a drive shaft, universal joint, or transmission.
11 coming in. Here's Waltrip, the other half of the battle for the championship this year. They say that championship, and the reason we continue to emphasize it, is it's worth almost $500,000 in residuals and ancillary prizes that a driver can pick up if he takes the title home. All right, Waltrip on pit road in car number 11, running 17th. And they're going on the right side of the car, making a tire change, but I don't see any adjustment there, Jeff.
No, not yet. They might wait until they come around to this left side, Ken, and start changing these tires. We'll watch and see if Junior Johnson puts his head inside the back of that car. He's usually the one that makes the adjustments.
Thus far, Junior is behind the wall. He has not come over the wall, nor have they focused on that front. They may think it's a tire problem.
Apparently it was, Kenny. Like I said, they start on the same tires they qualify on, and he just must have had a bad set of tires.
The number 15 car is back on the track. Here's the 03 car that also was involved. That is Eddie Birschel's car out of San Antonio, Texas. And we're waiting for a report. The first car that spun was number 71 Marcus. And then after that, this car got loose. And the driver's still inside the automobile. He is a Texan. I believe he did some midget and sprint driving. Has moved into the Grand National ranks. Meanwhile, taking a look at the front of the field as we wait for more on the 03 car. The leader is now 21 unofficially on the track. I think he's a lap down, and you'll have Bobby Allison out in front when we get ready to resume the 1983 Atlanta Journal 500. 52 laps are complete in the Atlanta Journal 500. They're 79 miles into it. They've just scratched the surface of this event today. $300,000 plus at stake. And as we watch the field come around, the Buddy Baker car is leading the field, but he is on the tail end of the lead lap. Now there's the driver who was injured, number 03. That is Eddie Birschel out of San Antonio, Texas, who crashed in turn number 2. And the ambulance crew, very carefully, they put a back brace on him, a backboard, before they removed him from the car. He is conscious, and he will be taken to the medical center here at the Speedway. Let's go to Jim Roller, who I believe has a report for us now.
Dale Earnhardt, what happened?
Low gear come out over on the first stop, and just got the transmission vibrating, so they just keep running, just tear up.
You ran so strong, got to be a bitter disappointment for you. Did it happen when you dropped the car off the jacks?
Yeah, when they dropped the car, I let the clutch out at the same time. It must have put the car in a bind. Busted it.
Rough way to end the day for Dale Earnhardt.
Well, that is a hard way to end for Dale Earnhardt, who I saw one of the worst wrecks I've ever seen in this track in '76 when he crashed up here in turn number 4 in the old Johnny Anderson rig. A lucky driver that day. Today, just misfortune. He came out on the track, went back to the garage area, and it was all for naught for the Bud Moore team today.
It was. I talked to Dale yesterday, and he's leaving that team this year. He'll be with another team next year, but he told me he wanted to win one more for Bud before the year was out. He really wanted to go good in this race, and it's a shame he's out, because it's a shame for the fans, because Dale always puts on a good show for everybody.
Well, he put on a dandy performance here in the early going, and of course there's one show left, and that is Riverside, California. Riverside, California in 2 weeks, and WTBS Superstation will be there for live flag-to-flag coverage. Let's go to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
At lap 50, a round of pit stops, very costly for the Ford teams. Buddy Baker made a green flag stop less than half a lap before that yellow. That's cost him a tremendous amount of racetrack time. Had he waited a lap, he could have made his stop under yellow. Dale Earnhardt and the other Ford, of course, out of the event. Donnie Allison dropped out early. Donnie's with us now. Donnie, quick question. What about Bobby's strategy here? I'm surprised to see him go to the front. Are you?
Well, not really. Knowing Bobby like I do, and if his car is really feeling good, he's going to lead the race, and he's going to do whatever he thinks he has to win the championship. He's not going to stroke and win it. He never has stroked, and you know, I wish him the best in the luck. I'd like to see him back off a little bit. I'd like to see him ride a little, you know, to about
5 miles to go or something like that. But, you know, he's his own man, and he's going to do what he thinks he has to do to win the race and the championship.
Little brother Donnie says that Bobby's out there going for it. We're going to go right now to Dick Berggren.
Well, Darrell Waltrip has been bothered with a push in his car. That means when he turns the steering wheel left, when he goes into the corner, the car tends to go straight ahead. He's not able to maintain the kind of control in the turns he would like. On that most recent pit stop, he took on 4 new tires. That's one way to adjust a push out of a race car. So when the green flag comes back out again, if things were done exactly according to Hoyle here, we should see Darrell Waltrip start to gain some of the positions back that he's lost this afternoon.
Waltrip is currently 13th overall in the field. Let's take a look at the attrition that has developed as we now have completed 55 laps. Those are the drivers that have come out of the race thus far in the event. We have 8 cars officially retired from it. Included in it are the Earnhardt machines, the Bushwell car that has just crashed. Ron Bouchard's car is out. The Gant car is down. Donnie Allison, Greg Sachs, Joe Gore, and Blackie Wengren followed by the wayside thus far in the Atlanta Journal 500. They are working the 56th lap now, Jeff. 2 cautions in the early going. This track is tough on cars and tough on tires. Goodyear's had some, there you see number 11, that's Waltrip in the 13th spot, has the silicone in the sand here, and it really works on the rubber on this racetrack.
It'll wear the tires down real quick, and new tires are a lot faster than used tires here, and everybody on these pit stops are putting new tires on, all the top teams. And so when the green comes back out, you're going to see another charge to the front like you did right at the beginning of this race.
Bobby Allison is running in first as they get ready for resumption. Actually, the 21 car leads the field down, but he is running on the tail end of the lead lap. That's why that pit stop was so costly for Buddy Baker. Buddy Baker with the Wood Brothers car number 21, who had a great 4th of July down at Daytona in the Firecracker 400. Almost a lap down is Baker, the 1975 winner of the Atlanta Journal 500. The actual leader of the event is car number 22. Bobby Allison is first. Tim Richmond is second. Cale Yarborough third. Benny Parsons is in fourth. Bill Elliott fifth. Neil Bonnet is sixth. Richard Petty is seventh. Phil Parsons is eighth. Ricky Rudd is ninth. Morgan Shepherd 10th. Lake Speed 11th. LaBounty 12th. Waltrip 13th. Richard Brooks is in 14th. In the 15th position is Dean Combs, and one of the outstanding rookies, Trevor Boyce, is running 16th. Baker 17th, but just on the tail end of the lead lap. Continuing coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 is presented by Noxzema Medicated Shave Cream. Share the softness. We are under green, just barely by a lap. We're working in lap number 60 right now. And there you see the leader, Bobby Allison. Into second spot has moved Tim Richmond, and the third man, Cale Yarborough. He may be hurt, but he's a hit when he's on a racetrack. Here he comes, going for second position now. And there you see the 55 of Benny Parsons. He is running in the 4th position. Front 4. And there goes Yarborough down to the inside of the turn number 4. Cale Yarborough making another move. 3-time national champion is going for second place. It may be that his leg hurts so bad he just leaves it on the throttle all the way around. Richmond goes back up on the outside. Now here comes Cale back on the inside for second. A good dice out of turn number 2. Here they come back to better than 170 miles per hour. And it is Cale Yarborough in the 28 into second. Benny Parsons down the inside for third. Benny Parsons picking up steam. He has his contract again for next year, and his younger brother Phil out here in car 66 is going to run for Rookie of the Year in a Johnny Hayes car in the Grand National Tour in 1984. Darrell Waltrip's car is now being shown in 13th position. He has not gathered up any spots, and there's number 90, Richard Brooks, going after him. Right in front of him is Morgan Shepherd. Remember that Shepherd started 31st on the day. On the outside, Waltrip is able to contain car number 90, and that number 11, the yellow and white car, that is the Junior Johnson prepared machine. Next year with a brand new team, over $2 million has been put up by the Anheuser-Busch people, they say, to sponsor the most powerful team we've heard of in years. Neil Bonnet and Darrell Waltrip will carry the colors of that company, and it is a megabuck situation that was announced just this week. Now there's Buddy Baker in the 21, also scooting beneath Darrell Waltrip, so something's amiss there. Back for the leaders another time. Bobby Allison is front, and look at Cale Yarborough, Jeff.
Yeah, Cale, he told me the other day in the garage area that he actually felt better when he was inside the race car on the race tracks, and that's pretty obvious. I guess he feels pretty good.
I can remember years ago Ray Hendrick being hurt so bad they lifted him off the wall and set him in the car, and he went out and won. Oh, Mr. Modified from Richmond, and here's Cale just as hurt, taking the lead, and here comes Benny Parsons into second. What a performance by Benny Parsons today, wheel to wheel. He rides down that back straightaway as they seesaw for positions up in front.
Benny ran real good the first race here, Ken. Right up till, I think there was about 10 laps to go, I think he blew his engine. So he's really got his car handling good today, and he's going to be contender before this is over with.
Car number 27, Richmond, is in fourth. Neil Bonnet being shown now in the fifth position. Neil Bonnet in fifth, twice a winner here in this event. Now there's Cale out in front, who won here in 1980. Actually, he won the first race of his career on this track back in 1967. That time it was called the Dixie. Now it's called, of course, the Coca-Cola 500, which is run in the springtime here on this beautiful mile-and-a-half facility. And the improvements made here on this track in the past year have been just remarkable. All those screens, freaks of the infield have all disappeared. Far easier to move around the entire racing facility, and they've done a tremendous amount of work on the creature comforts here at Atlanta International Raceway.
Well, all the drivers really enjoy coming here to Atlanta, Ken, because the track is a real racetrack. The corners are wide, and got some long straightaways. You get some speed up, and it's a real easy racetrack to drive on.
Cale Yarborough won his first super speedway race here in Atlanta, as we mentioned. Is AIR a difficult track for a competitor to get his teeth into and then to really race on? Here's what Cale Yarborough had to say.
Well, no doubt about it. As far as liking the racetrack, it's really one of my favorite super speedways. This is where I won my first super speedway race, and I enjoy running here. It's a lot of takes a lot of driving here. The turns are very long, and I feel like that if you got your car set up right and handling pretty good, you got a shot at winning. But it's one of my favorite places.
Working the 67th lap for 100 of the 500 miles have been completed here. And Cale Yarborough is out in front, driving injured but driving superbly. Now you see Darrell Waltrip, car number 11, still back there in that 13th spot. He has not picked up any ground. He's still in 13th. The other issue, of course, Bobby Allison, he's third overall on the field. There you see Allison in third, deployed behind car number 28, Cale Yarborough, number 55, Benny Parsons. Neil Bonnet is up to fifth, and look out for him this afternoon. He'll give them a rough run before it's over.
Well, that's for sure. Neil is looking forward to next season, and, you know, he's trying to end this season on a good note with the fellas he's with, but next year he's going to be with, I guess, one of the best teams in the business, Junior Johnson.
Here's Bobby Allison down to the inside on Benny Parsons. 55 is Parsons. On the inside, the white and red car. Number 22 is Allison. They come out of turn number 2 and look at Allison go. Down on the inside, and here comes Tim Richmond with him. The battle is for second place. There's the leader, 28. And there's that battle for second place, and Richmond is pulling up into third on the inside. Now, Richmond won at Pocono earlier this year, and twice last year won at Riverside, California. That's the Raymond Beadle, car number 27. That's going down to the inside. And car number 27, Tim Richmond out of Ashland, Ohio, 1980 Indianapolis Rookie of the Year, has picked up another notch in this race. Richmond on the move into third. Benny Parsons back to fourth. Richard Petty has fallen to 8th. Terry Labonte moves up to 7th as they begin to seesaw back further in the field.
Well, Ken, I'm clocking the difference between the lead cars and Darrell Waltrip, and he is still falling back away from him, so what they did on their last pit stop hasn't really helped him a whole lot.
Here's an update from Dave Despain.
Taking a look at that top 4, there's some interesting stories there on why that quartet are running up front. We checked on Cale Yarborough's situation during the pit stop. Cale says he feels fine, but Waddell Wilson, the crew chief, is concerned that there might be a problem with the car. In typical crew chief fashion, he won't say what's wrong. Tim Richmond, who has just moved up into second place, is a driver who has really been on the move. This pole position that he got today, this race, is his second pole in the last 3 weeks. He won the Pocono race, and Raymond Beadle, a drag racer, feels that that team is really coming together, and they could win the race here today. In the third quickest in the pits here today. Bobby Allison has picked up 5 points in the Grand National standings for having led the race, and Benny Parsons, who has moved up into that lead quartet, does it on the strength of his pit stop. He's the quickest in the pits today, 42.08 seconds total time on pit road. That's why he's in front. Let's go up to Ken Squire.
257 laps remaining in the event. And what a scorcher of a battle up in front. Bobby Allison having a real war with Cale Yarborough, who's just taken the lead away from him. And right along comes Tim Richmond. Richmond making a move on Allison as they come out of turn 2. Back to over 170 miles per hour, back straightaway. Richmond attacking. The red gold car of Tim Richmond on the bottom side. Bobby Allison working a little higher now on the track, Jeff.
Well, the technique of passing here at Atlanta is to try to get the man in front of you to go in that third corner a little harder than what he wants to, and that will force his car to go high. His car will tend to drift, and then you go exactly like Tim Richmond did. He went underneath Bobby Allison, and now he's in front of him.
The Buddy Baker situation is this. Remember that after they came out of a caution period, he was just behind the pace car. At the last moment, he dipped in, and he fell a full lap down. He's running on the back end now, a lap down. Now, there you see those cars in the dice for the second position. Tim Richmond is there. Trying to move through. The shadow's getting a little long up in turn number 4 this afternoon. Richmond in second, Allison in third, Parsons in fourth, and that 5th position is Neil Bonnet. Seems to play a waiting game here and seem very comfortable and happy in that spot right now. Bill Elliott is running in 6th, the man who's had 8 second-place finishes. He goes, they say, to a much stronger situation in 1984 with a brand-new sponsor soon to be announced. Bill Elliott is in 6th spot with his Ford Thunderbird, and the other Fords have had some problems today. Baker a lap down, Earnhardt is out, and again, if there are to be Ford colors flown today, pretty much falls on Bill Elliott to do it. Right behind him in the 7th spot is Terry Labonte, who won last week at Richmond for the Billy Hagan team. Cale Yarborough in front. Now 75 laps complete. The 28 car of Cale Yarborough. Well, that team is abused of a lot of equipment this year. They just had some awful, horrendous wrecks, and they just keep coming back. The Harry Ranier team with a lot of reserve and a lot of muscle in that organization. Here is number 28 being run down by Tim Richmond going into turn number 1. Richmond gaining ground. Looks like Tim Richmond is going to throw the dice and see if he can go out and gain those 5 extra points for leading. Yarborough in front, Richmond in second in the Atlanta Journal 500. 80 laps are now complete. A couple of changes of positions. Tim Richmond is out in front. Cale Yarborough relegated to second. Neil Bonnet has moved into 4th, and Benny Parsons back to 5th in the Atlanta Journal 500. Richmond's race, perhaps the 4th one of his career, is building at this time. Let's go to the pits. Here's a report from Dick Bergerick.
The car Bobby Allison is driving this afternoon provides an interesting case history in the highs and lows of automobile racing. The car has handed the team some of their worst defeats of the 1983 season, and it's also been the source of some of their greatest joys. In the joy department, this is the same car that Bobby Allison used this year to win the race at Darlington, the Southern 500. In the victory and the defeat end of things, however, this is the same car that blew its engine wide open in Michigan in August, costing them more points than at any other event for the entire season. The car also broke its drive shaft at Talladega earlier this year. They are, however, very high on this car for this particular event. Crew Chief Gary Nelson said just before the race that they think they can win it with this particular automobile despite its checkered past history.
Live flag-to-flag coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 here on WTBS Superstation today, and we'll follow you and them to Riverside, California. Let's go to Jim Roller in the pits right now.
Eddie Birchwell, what happened? Well, I believe someone lost the motor, got the little oil. That was about it. The car went on. The car drove itself where it wanted to go. Then after that, it wasn't much I could do. That's about the extent of it. You in that car 03 took quite a lick. Are you okay? Yes, sir. I'm all right right now. Just a little bit lightheaded, but I'll be all right. We'll be ready again. Eddie Birchwell out of the race. Back to you, Ken.
Bobby Allison, leader in the point standings, is currently 3rd in the race, and Darrell Waltrip is 13. Let's take a look at how the points are amassed on the NASCAR Grand National system. The point system is formatted to ensure close competitive racing at the very end of the 30-race season, and this year is no exception. Here's how the point system works. The winner of a Grand National race in NASCAR gets 175 points, with the next 5 finishing positions awarded points in 5-point decreasing intervals. In the 7th through the 11th finishing positions, points are awarded in 4-point decreasing intervals. And then, in the 12th through the 40th positions, there's a 3-point decreasing interval. And finally, bonus points are awarded to all official lap leaders, as well as the driver who officially leads the most laps in the race. So if you get your nose out in front, you collect 5 points, and if you lead the most laps in the race, you get another 5-point bonus. We just saw an engine coming loose here a moment ago. It looked like car number 90, Richard Brooks, who'd been running 14th from the tail end of the lead lap in the Junie Donlevy car, has had an engine expire in lap number 84. Again, you're watching live coverage here on Superstation WTBS today of the Atlanta Journal 500. Here's a quick report from Dave Despade.
I'm standing with Raymond Beadle, the car owner for Tim Richmond. You guys are really getting your act together, Raymond.
Everything's coming along real good late in the year. We had a little slow start, but maybe we'd like to finish up with a couple of wins.
What attracted you to get out of the drag racing business and get into oval track racing as a car owner?
Well, I'm not out of the drag racing yet. I'm still actively involved, but I just enjoyed the NASCAR, and I wanted to be more involved. That's why.
What's accounted for the turnaround? You guys got started slow. Now all of a sudden you're like Buster's gang, winning pole positions, winning at Pocono, and almost winning at Charlotte.
Well, we've overcome a lot of obstacles this year. You're starting a new team. A lot of people don't realize, hiring personnel and going and putting in a shop and getting the cars together. So now everything's pretty well going along on the schedule.
And now you've got a contract with Tim. You guys' deal is all locked in for 84, right?
Yeah, we're all set for 84, 85.
That's drag racing great Raymond Beadle, who's very pleased to see his car out front with Tim Richmond at the wheel. Ken?
Raymond Beadle, 3-time world champion in drag racing, and what an addition he has been to Winston Cup Grand National Racing. Richmond is in front. Yarborough is in second. The battle is now for third. Neil Bonnet and Bobby Allison, the Alabama gang, has come together out here, and I think that at this point Allison is drafting off Bonnet, trying to overhaul those two leaders, Jeff.
Well, Ken, Bobby and Neil have teamed up before in races, and it looks like maybe that's what they're trying to do right now. People don't realize, but you've got to team up sometimes with your fellow competitor out there to catch the other guy, and Bobby and Neil are going to get in a draft and try to get in a draft. Doesn't look like Bobby can hang on to him.
He lost him. He was right on his rear bumper, and you notice there, Allison coming off turn number 4 had a bit of a bobble in the front end. He was right on his rear bumper about just half a lap ago, and he's fallen back a bit there.
Well, he must be having a little handling problem, but Tim Richmond, I know what's going through his mind right now. There's only one thing he likes to do, and that's to be out in front, and he's doing it real good right now, and he's going to try to lead as many laps as he can.
Jeff Bodine, let's take a look right now at the front 13. We have a pit stop coming up on number 11. On pit road comes Waltrip. He had been running 13th. Is this unscheduled? I believe it is. Waltrip going a lap down as 27 shoots through. Darrell, and they're making an adjustment. There you see Junior Johnson on the right side of the car in the opera window there.
Okay, they're bending the rear spoiler up, and they're making an adjustment on that right rear. Apparently, he was a little loose. Now, they thought he was pushing before. That set of tires must have been a little loose for him.
Well, he's a lap and a half down. Going a lap down is Waltrip. That leaves 12 cars in the lead lap. Here's Waltrip coming back up to speed. Let's go back to the leader. There's Tim Richmond. What a great day Richmond's having. He's down in turn number 1. He's leading. Yarborough second, Bonnet third, Bobby Allison fourth. Benny Parsons is fifth. Labonte is sixth. Bill Elliott is in seventh. The 8th position is Richard Petty. 9th is Lake Speed. 10th is Ricky Wright.
Waltrip's coming back into the pits, Ken. There's something wrong with that race car. He wouldn't be doing that.
The entire crowd up on its feet as Waltrip comes in a second time under green. He'll go 2 laps down. 11th spot is Parsons, and 12th is Morgan Shepherd in the lead lap. And let's watch this pit stop.
Okay, they're changing the right side tires this time. The first time they changed just the left side. He might think he has a flat tire, and so now they're going to come back in and change these right side tires.
Away goes Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip back on the track. But he has gone 2 laps down.
Well, Ken, there's one thing about this Junior Johnson team. They're 2 laps down right now, but I'll guarantee you one thing. They won't give up. They're going to go back out there and run just as hard as they can to make up that 2-lap deficit. And it's been done many times. They've come from 2 or 3 laps behind and won races, so the race isn't over yet.
Let's go to Dave Despain.
Darrell Waltrip has just made 2 pit stops in rapid succession. Jerry Garrett has the story. Jerry?
Davis, that old problem with the vicious push, once again, is wearing out tires, but the first time they came in, they gambled, they changed the wrong side. The bad tire was on the other side. Had to come in and make 2 stops.
In other words, they knew they had a tire problem, but they didn't know where it was. They gambled wrong.
That's right.
So Waltrip had to make 2 pit stops, and that's going to be crucial in his battle with Bobby Allison for the national championship. Ken?
94 laps have been completed. There are 234 remaining today, and a most serious situation developing for Waltrip in his hopes of winning this race in his quest for the national title. He's won it 2 years in a row. Right now, this is your leader, Tim Richmond, in car number 27, working on his 4th career win. This will be the first time that he would won in Atlanta. He's just finished an arrangement to drive this car all of next year for Raymond Beadle at Pontiac. That's now down in the first turn. The second place car is Cale Yarborough, and he has his hands full right now with Neil Bonnet. Bonnet has pulled up. Allison has come off the draft, and the battle is for second place as they go down the back straightaway. Car number 27 is your leader. There is Richmond in front.
See how low he's going into that corner, Ken? He drifts a little high in the middle, but that's exactly where the groove is at this point in the race. It keeps moving up on this great track the longer you run.
Into second position. Thundering through traffic comes car number 75. There he is, just scooting by and making the spot on Cale Yarborough. You see Cale directly behind Neil Bonnet now. And Bonnet in the Warner Hodgson car is becoming more of a factor. You saw him back there in 5th. He's edged his way up through, and he now maintains the second position. Cale Yarborough back in 3rd. 4th spot is Bobby Allison. Going in 5th is Benny Parsons, and 6th is Terry Labonte. Now here's Cale. Still working on the outside, but definitely the class of the field at this moment is Neil Bonnet in the car 75, who is trying to run down the leader. That is number 27 in front, Tim Richmond. But Bonnet, who won here in 79 and 81, is beginning to make his run up toward the summit of the Atlanta Journal 500. Live coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 with Jeff Bodine and Ken Squire topside here, watching Tim Richmond, who has this race covered like kudzu at the present time. That vine that grows along beside the roads here in Georgia. There you see Richmond out in front and not giving much of anything to the second place car, Neil Bonnet, who stays about a second and a half back. Let's go to Jim Roller in the pit area.
Dick Brooks adds his name to that growing list of attrition. Dick, what happened?
Well, we lost another bearing, I think. That's about 4 in a row, and that's kind of disappointing. I don't think I've lost bearings 4 times in 10 years I've been racing, but we're going to have to find a problem, you know. It's just something it's a downer for everybody on the team. We run pretty good, and then we fall down, so we're going to have to fix it.
Dick Brooks. Thank you, Ken. Tim Richmond in front. In the second position, it is Bonnet. The story for 3rd continues to be a dandy. There they are, Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough. Bobby Allison trying to win that title. He's come so close on 5 previous occasions. The runner-up the last 2 years in a row to Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip is now a couple of laps off the pace. But don't count that Junior Johnson crew out any more than you could Richmond a few weeks back when he was able to make up a lap. There is Allison, the white-red number 22, right in front of the 28 of Cale Yarborough. And they are the cars running in the 3rd and 4th position. Terry Labonte is behind them in 5th. With Bill Elliott in 6th. In the 7th spot is Benny Parsons. There's the leader. Leader number 27. Coming by. Tim Richmond. Richard Petty is back in 8th at the present time.
We just lost another car, Ken. Joe Ruttman, the 98 car, just drove into the garage area.
It's the 11th car out. The 11 cars of the 40 starters have now retired. Since our last report, J.D. McDuffie has fallen by the wayside. Richard Brooks has gone away, and now Joe Ruttman's car, number 98. That one, too, has found its way back to the garage. Bad day for Ruttman. Great race driver, though. I bet you have a lot of fun out there with him.
A lot of fun with him, and he's a tough competitor, and he's a lot of fun off the track, too. Ken, he's a very nice man. His wife, his whole family come to the races to watch him run, and they support him 100%, sort of like my family does with me.
Your dad used to own a racetrack. Isn't that how you got started?
That's how I got started when I was 5 years old back in Chemung, New York.
We are now 105 laps into it, and there is Bobby Allison just barely in front of Cale Yarborough. You're looking at the battle for third place in our live flag-to-flag coverage here on Superstation WTBS this afternoon. Here they are on the main straightaway. Down into turn number 1. Yarborough getting ready to make a move. Bobby slams the door.
Well, apparently Cale's car is a little loose getting down into that corner, because normally when you see a guy run low into the first corner, he's trying to tighten his car up. He's trying to make it push a little bit. Now he's going inside of Bobby into the third corner. It looks like his car is handling better low, but that really is the groove where he's running. Bobby just got way out of the
Allison way up high, and Yarborough down to the inside. The struggle for third spot. Here's Cale Yarborough. I tell you, he's feeling a whole lot better out there right now, the way things are going. Gets it down to the bottom of the track, and it is Yarborough inside, Allison outside, third position at stake in the Atlanta Journal 500.
There's a little trick there, Ken. When you run inside behind the guy, inside going into a corner, it tends to push his car up. It'll tend to make the back end slide up, which you have to steer the front end up to keep up with it, and I think Cale's trying that little move on it right now.
Great racing here in the Atlanta Journal 500. Coming to you live this afternoon, Allison in that third position. And now you see Cale back in fourth. Let's go to Dick Berggren in the pits.
This is the last time we'll see the car that's in the lead in terms of automobile racing ever. The reason is that its body is a 1981 Pontiac Le Mans. In 1984, that body will not be legal. After this race is all done and over with, the crew is going to take Tim Richmond's car back to the garage and strip all of the sheet metal and update it to new specs. Crew chief Tim Brewer says that's a real shame. He thinks this is the best car body that anybody can race in Grand National Racing. In contrast to the other cars, the rear window slows down very gradually, allowing the air to flow over it more efficiently. This is a very good car on very fast racetracks.
Dr. Dick Berggren, the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, with us here in the pits today. Jeff Bodine, you've driven a lot of race cars. Now, what do you think of that number 27?
Well, definitely fast. We ran Pontiacs with the 88 Gatorade team, but ours were Grand Prix Pontiacs. And this Le Mans Pontiac, like Dick said, the back window slopes down gradual, and the front end is a little more aerodynamic than the Grand Prix. And it does go through the air. We feel like on the super speedways, it's worth about 2 miles an hour over the Grand Prix.
Tim Richmond, the young man you were looking at there, who is now out in front. Kyle Petty has just made a pit stop, and the Haas Ellington car is being driven by Lake Speed. That team won here in 1978 with Donnie Allison. They have just made their pit stop. Now you're watching Kyle Petty come back on the attack. We understand there's going to be a big announcement, and there may be a Ford in his future for 1984. Here is car number 7 coming back on the track. Richmond lapping Ken Reagan in his Chevrolet, number 77. Ken Reagan, a Chevrolet dealer down here in the Georgia area. Used to run in go-karts, which has been the starting area of a whole lot of racers, including Darrell Waltrip. And his younger brother, Mike Waltrip, who won out here yesterday out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Tim Richmond is leading in the Atlanta Journal 500. Why do you want to win this particular race? Why does it mean so much to you? What do these drivers have to say?
I'm sentimental for Bobby as far as because, you know, he hasn't won it. But I want the person who deserves to win it. And that's the guy who has the most points at the end of the season.
I'd say it's 50-50 right now. Darrell's won the last couple of years, so the odds has got to be on his side. But Bobby's ahead, and Darrell's got to catch up. So it's going to be tough.
Well, I'd have to bet on Darrell and Junior right now. I feel like that they got the momentum going for them.
Some opinions on who might come up on top between Allison and Waltrip before the season is over. But it comes up November 20th at Riverside, California. Back straightaway, Tim Richmond in front. Richmond leading here today. Pretty good lead. It's almost a full straightaway over the second-place car, Neil Bonnet.
And that team has come together here the last half of this season just tremendously. He's getting held up right now by a slower car, but
Richard Petty is on pit road. Here's the number 43 car in. Richard Petty driving for a new team next year.
Yeah, they're reaching inside the back of that car, making a chassis adjustment too, Ken. That's pretty common, though, throughout a Grand National race. The tracks all change just about every 10 laps. You're running on a different racetrack, and whenever you come into pits for a pit stop, you usually do make a change to your chassis.
It was the big news of the week. Richard Petty in a year, 1984, driving for the former California Lieutenant Governor Mike Kerr, with Buddy Parrott as a crew chief, and for the first time in Petty history, he will not be in a Petty car. Now we have car number 28 coming on pit road. Here is Cale Yarborough pulling down on pit road. This is taking place in the 115th lap of our live flag-to-flag coverage on WTBS today. 213 laps remaining. This has been the car that has been running in third position.
All right, Ken, they're changing the outside tires right now. I don't know if they'll go. They usually will go for just 2 tires on a green flag stop. Yeah, that looks like what they're going to do. No chassis adjustment. He must be happy with the way the car's handled.
Morgan Shepherd is going to go back. Let's go to Jim Roller.
Joe Rutman, doesn't follow. What happened? Well, early in the race, pitting that connects to the rear end developed a crack, and then we lost all the oil out of the rear end of the car before we, that first caution, and we just hoping that, the caution maybe come a little sooner, that we was able to repair it and put more oil back in, but apparently that it just, you start fatiguing the gears, and eventually it just went out. Joe Rutman, another of the early victims in the Atlanta Journal 500. Back to you, Ken.
Sixth-place car, Benny Parsons, just pulling back onto the track after making his stop, and directly in front of him in the pits, the Jackson brothers, the folks that maintain those cars, is number 66, which is Phil Parsons. He is still in there. They're taking a considerable amount of time on Phil Parsons' car. Again, the new story yesterday, Phil Parsons will be run. He is the first announced candidate for the Champion Spark Plug Rookie of the Year program in 1984.
It looks like Tim Richmond's making his pit stop right now, Ken.
Here is Richmond.
And he's being held up by that slow car, Bob Seneker. That's going to cost him a little time.
Richmond coming in. And across the line, here's Bobby Allison coming in. There's the leader on pit road. Fuel, tires on car number 27.
Okay, you saw that boy just banging that the rear spoiler up a little bit. That's pretty common practice. That tightens the back of the car up, going down into the corners.
This is going to put Neil Bonnet into the lead. This is that time under green, and they will all be stopping. Here is Neil Bonnet now coming on pit road. Bonnet is coming in.
All right, Tim just beat Bobby out of the pit, so that was a pretty good break. He was held up quite a bit coming down into the pits.
Indeed. Bobby Allison has made his pit stop. We watched Ken Reagan come on down by now. Parsons has made his. This would move Petty up for the moment. Richard Petty made that early. Now, he has made a stop, so that would not put him up in front. And I think all of our leaders have now pitted with the exception of number 44, Terry Labonte. Terry Labonte would show up in front for the moment, but he'll have to pit in just a moment.
They didn't make an adjustment on Neil Bonnet's car either. Apparently he's pretty happy with the way his car's handling.
There's Ken Reagan coming back on the track. He wants to go full-time on the tour next year. Now you're watching Allison try to move around car number 27.
That was a pretty slick move by Neil Bonnet. He just moved up in front of Tim Richmond on the back straightaway. It looks like Tim Richmond's coming into pits, Ken.
It does. Richmond seems to be in trouble. Tim Richmond is coming back on pit road. There's the new leader, Terry Labonte, number 44. Terry Labonte, number 44, is your leader, and Tim Richmond is back on pit road, an unscheduled stop for car number 27 in the 121st lap.
Yeah, and they're not bringing any tires or anything out, Tim. We're going under the hood, and that's a serious problem there.
Waiting on Buddy Baker's pit stop. 66, Phil Parsons, has been rolled back behind the wall. He will be the 12th retiree from the event. Joe Rutland, 11th out. Richard Brooks was the 10th man to end the day here. Buddy Baker has just pitted number 21. He's right behind the 27 by about 3 pit areas as they work on car number 27, and they're taking plenty of time, and the headset's coming off. Say goodnight.
They just motioned to Tim. It's all over. Apparently the engine let go on him.
Leader in. There's the man that won Rockingham a week ago for his second career victory. Back in 1981 at Darlington, then took Rockingham last week in the Billy Hagan car. And you see the 27 car of Tim Richmond being pushed backwards up pit road and headed for the garage area, and Richmond will become the 13th retiree from the 40-car starting field today. Now this comes 123 laps deep into the event. That's about 187 miles. Here's the new leader with 44 having pitted. Bobby Allison, once again, commandeers this 500-mile race. Next to last event of the 30 race, $10 million series. This and Riverside will decide it all. Will Allison, for the first time, win the national championship? He's tried since 1966. 5 times he's been a runner-up. A couple of other occasions he has been third in the standings. Tough, competitive driver. One of his goals was always to win it. He has led the championship for the last 2 years, and then in the waning moments of the season, lost it to Darrell Waltrip. Let's go to Dave Despain in the pits.
Late developments down here. Raymond Beadle just walking back up. Raymond, from riches to rags. What happened to Tim Richmond's car?
Well, we had another one of those dollar parts breaks. The dry soap belt broke on the oil pump that locked the oil pump off.
Going on to Riverside from here, where you've won before, right?
Yes, that's right.
Listen, bad break today. Better luck next time.
Thank you.
That's Raymond Beadle. He's the car owner on the car of Tim Richmond, the leader just out of the race. Neil Bonnet, as we mentioned, will be putting up new cars, guys who come from the pack. He started back in 16th. Now he's right up there with the front runners. We'll be back with more right after this from Atlanta International Raceway.
129 laps down, 199 to go, and Bobby Allison is again leading in the Atlanta Journal 500. Live here on WTBS, you're watching Allison take another step toward the peak in Winston Cup Grand National Racing, the national championship. For one of the men for whom the day was short, this report from Jim Rowley.
Tim Richmond, you were running so well. What happened? Well, you know, we had a little problem with the tire there first, and they started to come in. We got a big lead. They came in for the, you know, we ran a tank of fuel out and came in, and we went back out. I noticed the motor kind of tie up, and I looked down at what the oil pressure. And what happened? It kicked the oil pump belt off. So, well, maybe it wasn't our day today, but maybe next year over Milwaukee and I'll have our year next year instead of our day today. It's going to be a bitter disappointment. Well, you know, we've been running really well. The team has been putting a great car together, and we've been running well and kind of running off here and there. And it is kind of disappointing, but if this is what we've got to go through to have our year next year and get the Winston Cup Championship, I'll give up the win today and 2 weeks from now to make the Winston Cup Championship next year. Well, tough luck for Tim Richmond. Dick Berger has another story for us down pit lane. Dick?
I'm with Gary Nelson, Bobby Allison's crew chief. Gary, is the race going according to plan?
Well, we didn't plan on leading this many laps. We were fortunate enough that the car, you know, just fit right into the track, and Bobby felt right at home leading the race. So, you know, our plan was to run comfortably. And
what's the plan from here, Gary?
Well, you know, a lot of people have talked about how it looks like we've got it in the bag, but it's not over until it's over. So we're going to run a comfortable pace, try and stay out of trouble. You know, definitely out of trouble. But you know, maybe we can just keep our noses clean and pull off a good finish. Hopefully, a win.
That's Gary Nelson, Bobby Allison's crew chief.
Bobby Allison leading by 1 1/10 of a second over the second-place competitor, now Neil Bonnet. And he has a 4 2/10 advantage at the present time over the third-place car, which is Cale Yarborough. You're watching Bobby Allison, 45 years old. This is considered by his crew, by most of the folks around him, as probably the most important race of the season for him. A second straight win of this Great Fall Classic, second to last race of the season to change it all. Now there is Waltrip. Remember, he is a lap down, and Bobby Allison just put him away. And here comes Cale Yarborough, moving up to also put him further back. Waltrip's position in the race is being shown as 15th, and he is 1 or 2 laps, 2 laps down. Waltrip being shown as 2 laps down.
Ken, they've got a definite problem with Darrell's car. I've been watching him going into these corners, and he just cannot run down into the corner hard enough to maintain a good racing pace. And of course, once you lose your momentum going into the corner, you lose it coming off.
Let's take a look at those standings. 1981, Waltrip Allison. And this was one of those races that counted so much. This Atlanta Journal 5-1. This was 1982 when they came into this event. And of course, this year, it's by 27 points that Allison is in front of Waltrip as they come to this event. There's Allison in the back straightaway with a lead of over a second. That's about 250, 300 feet on this racetrack. Anything other than a win really provides Darrell Waltrip here today with a chance still to take the championship out of Riverside, California. Right now, it's all Allison's as he rides on the point. Let's go to Dave Despain.
Here in the STP Pit Communication Center, more on that Darrell Waltrip story. Darrell is really laboring today. He's back in 15th spot with Bobby Allison up front. That's crucial in the point race. Jerry Garrett, more on what's happening with Darrell Waltrip's car. It is a handling problem, but what's behind it?
The problem, Dave, is that they tried to change the chassis, get it to respond. Nothing happened when they adjusted the chassis. They adjusted just about everything they felt they could. Then they came back in and figured they've got a tire problem. They put too much air in the tires. They're now in the process of taking air out of the right side tires to change what they call the stagger. And they hope that that will make the car respond because it doesn't handle at all.
Stagger is the matter of how big the tires are. Every tire is a little different. They have to be perfectly matched to get good handling. Junior Johnson and Darrell Waltrip are looking for that right now and looking desperately because they're 2 laps down. Back to you, Ken.
There you see him, Waltrip, and the latest report has him in 11th and off the pace. And there is the Benny Parsons car, which is running in the lead lap. He is in 5th place overall in the field, just lapping Waltrip. Still in trouble out here today.
Ken, Dave was talking about tire stagger on Darrell's car, and that's very critical.
Got a car spinning in turn 1. Car all the way around in turn 1, looping twice and coming to a halt down there. And it looks like 04 has had a problem. That would be the Rick Baldwin car out of Corpus Christi, Texas, is going to bring out a caution. Now that will be a break for the Waltrip crew, the Junior Johnson people, as they'll try to get him back out here. Yellow is on the track. Caution on the speedway.
Ken, I was explaining about tire stagger. On this racetrack here at Atlanta, the corners are so long that tire stagger is very, very important. And if it gets off just a little bit, it can mess the handling up of the car a whole lot.
Rick Baldwin's number 04 was not in contact with the wall, but he did a wild old-fashioned Gil Hooley down in turn number 1, which has brought out the 3rd caution of the day, coming in the 138th lap. 3 caution periods now. Retirement, well, we're up to some 13 cars with Tim Richmond falling by the wayside. Here's Neil Bonnet moving back up behind the leader, and let's see if any of these cars get an opportunity to come on pit road here.
Well, I'm sure they will, Ken. Whenever they can get a chance to put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on their car, they're going to do it.
And indeed, here they come. Allison and Bonnet coming down. Morgan Shepherd stays out. Morgan Shepherd is running in the 11th spot, that number 2 car. He's 1 lap off the pace. Waltrip is being shown in 12th, a couple laps down. 9 cars in the lead lap as we came to this caution period. There is the Warner Hodgson car. Will carry number 12 next year for Neil Bonnet. Number 11 will be Waltrip on the Super Team. A blown engine. They send the Speedy Dry crew down here into turn number 1. Track is clear for the safety crew, and they're just beginning to move down into the first turn area where the problem is. Bonnet coming back on the track, number 75. Terry Labonte chases him out, and there's Waltrip in again.
Well, they're changing off 4 tires on Darrell's car. That was the left side tires there, and they're off and away. I didn't see him make any chassis adjustment. They must just figure they've got a tire problem.
That's a tough one for them. They really needed a good race today. They come in here 27 points behind the Bobby Allison team. 2 races to go here today. And then Riverside.
As well as Bobby was running on a racetrack, I did see them reaching the back of that car and making an adjustment. So their car must be working so fine that they just figured they put a little bit more in there and go a little faster.
Live flag-to-flag coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 will continue on Superstation WTBS after these messages. Rick Baldwin's car has just gone behind the wall, becoming the 14th retiree from the Atlanta Journal 500. And there you see the standings. Neil Bonnet, twice a winner here, now commands the event. Still under caution, so while we have this opportunity, let's right now go back one day, yesterday, to the results from the Nissan Georgia 150. Here's what happened. In that Nissan Georgia 150, Mike Waltrip clinched the 1983 Darlington Dash title. Waltrip shared the lead with 3 others in that event, but a 4th lap crash between Mike Gibson in the 44 and Randy Mullis guaranteed Waltrip at least a 38th place finish and the crown. Waltrip charged on to take the win ahead of Nelson Gussler, who finished in 2nd. Both were Pontiac drivers. Michael Swain was 3rd yesterday, and Larry Hoopaw came home in 5th. Denny McLean was in 4th. That was yesterday here at the Atlanta International Raceway. Mike Waltrip of Owensboro, Kentucky, has won that 83 title, and should Darrell Waltrip win the Winston Cup title, it would be the only time in history in NASCAR that 2 brothers have won NASCAR national championships in the same season. Mike Waltrip, the overall winner of the Darlington Dash Series this year. Mike Swain was 2nd overall, Larry Hoopaw 3rd, and Denny McLean 4th in the point standings for that 13-race series, which was concluded yesterday afternoon in a dandy race. They've really improved the Darlington Dash cars. Let's go down to Dick Berggren on pit road.
I'm with Waddell Wilson, Cale Yarborough's crew chief. Waddell, how is Cale feeling right now?
Well, right now he hasn't complained about, the pains he's having, and he hasn't wanted any kind of medication or anything. And the only thing he's wanted to do is try to get the car adjusted a little better, so hopefully we can win the race.
Here's Waddell Wilson, Cale Yarborough's car chief.
Let's go to the pit center. Here is Dave Despain.
Working lap 144 under caution. It's the Alabama gang out front. The junior member of that group, Neil Bonnet, leading the race. The senior member, Bobby Allison, is right behind. And with us is John Nelson from his crew. We told you earlier about the computer that they're using to plot race strategy. John, how does that work anyway?
Dave, the computer gives us a lot of information based on the history of the races that have been held here at Atlanta, and we take that information and try and compile it in a series of pictures that will tell us what is likely to happen based on the probabilities.
So it's projections, and you have a variety of race profiles for different possibilities that you work from in calculating your own strategy.
That's right, Dave. As various things occur on the racetrack, caution periods, for instance, and accidents, the profile of what's going to happen in the race changes.
Does it always work?
Not all the time.
Let's go to Jim Roller now. He has a further report from pit road.
Jeff, Darrell has been struggling with some handling problems. This time you changed all 4 tires under the yellow flag. You just had a conference with Junior. Do you think you've got the problem solved?
We're making it better and better each time we get a chance to work on the car. If we just don't run out of time, we've got ourselves a little bit of a tight spot right now, but we still got a lot of races to run. So hopefully, we get a few breaks here and there and can, get the car back where it belongs. I think we can make up most of our time.
Darrell Waltrip struggling so far, but the team thinks they're getting their act together. Ken?
He is in 12th place. And you can see Bobby Allison really trying to get another lap on him. The leaderboard looks as follows. As Waltrip is in the box right behind Dave Marcus there. Marcus is back after a wild spin earlier. Neil Bonnet is 1st. Allison is 2nd. Terry Labonte is 3rd. Cale Yarborough 4th. Lake Speed 5th as they get ready for green. In the 6th position, Bill Elliott. 7th is Ricky Rudd. 8th is Richard Petty. And 9th is Benny Parsons. 9 cars in the lead lap. 1 lap down in 10th is Baker. 11th is Shepard. 12th is Waltrip. He is 2 laps down. And
He is in the box. The lap cars have to be on the inside. The cars in the lead lap are on the outside of the track when they resume under a green flag for the caution period. So going down into turn number 1, there you see Neil Bonnet, and there's 71, Dave Marcus, trying to collect a lap back. Back straightaway. Marcus, who spun and lost a couple of laps, more than that, probably 3 down, tries to stay right there. Remember, he won this race in 1976. Look at Terry Labonte down the inside, Jeff Bodine. Live coverage from the Atlanta International Raceway as we get down to decision time for 1983 on the Winston Cup Tour. Bobby Allison and Waltrip both still in there slugging it out for that championship. But just as important to these drivers like Neil Bonnet and Terry Labonte is this win today. Here comes Terry Labonte to the inside. It's Terry Labonte. He's trying to win 2 in a row. Remember, last week he won at Rockingham, North Carolina.
Well, Ken, you can see Dave Marcus in front of those lead cars. He might be a lap or 2 down, but one thing about Dave Marcus, he never gives up. He just keeps running hard all day.
Down they come to complete lap 148. Lap 148 complete. It's Bonnet back in front. Neil Bonnet goes back to the lead. And in second spot, not the blue car, that's a few laps down, is the 44 car, the red and white car. Prepared or built by Tex Powell out of the Billy Hagan stable. He's in second spot. Here comes Bobby Allison in the 22. He's running third. From high above the racetrack, that's how they look going down the back straightaway on this beautiful 1.5-mile racing facility. A driver's favorite, also a fan's favorite, this Atlanta track. Bonnet first. Labonte second. Allison third. Bailey Arborough fourth. Amazing how Taylor stayed in here. They had him seated in a director's chair over here in the infield the past few days, and he hardly moved just to get into the car and out. He hurt so bad, but he sure looks great this afternoon.
Well, Ken, they actually asked me if possibly I might drive the car. Cal couldn't, but I called Waddell Wilson during the week, and he said Cal thought he was going to be able to make it. He said he was awful sore, but he was going to give it a try.
Down the main straightaway. Second place car. One of the cars has been right up in front all day. That is the number 3 car. Ricky Rudd. Now on pit road. He changes teams next year. Rudd in car number 3. Pulls on pit road and goes right to the garage area. Unfortunate for Ricky Rudd. Ricky Rudd's car number 3 is away. Standings after 28 of 30 races. There you see Allison going into this race just in front of Waltrip by 27 points. And Bill Elliott in that Ford. What a remarkable job that little team from Georgia has done with car number 9. His 2 brothers help him with the car. Richard Petty sustains 4th. Terry Labonte 5th in the overall standings. Here's Labonte working hard to get himself out in front and really collect the money. Now there's Bill Elliott beginning to make some moves too. Bill Elliott in number 9 that we were just talking about. He and Richard Petty dicing at the present time. They are fighting for 6th place. Bill Elliott and Richard Petty fighting for 6th, and right with them comes Benny Parsons. That's the battle. 6th, 7th, and 8th place cars. Elliott in number 9, and now Richard Petty is going into 6th. Richard Petty down the inside is up to 6th spot. And you're once again on board Richard Petty's STP Pontiac car. There he is in the back straightaway. Looking under the roll bar, out the front of car number 43. A lot of vibration in that car as he goes down into that turn. This is an old racetrack in its 24th running. You can see the vibration. It pounds up into those drivers' arms and hands at tremendous speeds they reach on this racetrack.
And you don't even notice that vibration when you're out there driving that race car. It's there, but you don't really notice it. It doesn't affect you too much. It'll wear you down after 500 miles for sure, but, you know, another new thing in these Grand National Racing is power steering. And I'm kind of proud because I introduced that power steering last year at North Wilkesboro, and Richard Petty right there is using it. And it's really helped Richard. Bobby Allison is using it. Darrell Waltrip has it in his car. Right now, I'd say probably 75% of the cars are using power steering, and it really has helped everybody in these long-distance races.
Down by the start-finish line, Richard Petty, winner of 198, controversial 198, that has brought around an entire change in his in his style, in his career, a whole new team for him next year. And there is Richard Petty, who now is in 6th. Benny Parsons has moved to 7th. Bill Elliott relegated back to 8th another time. The lap situation, 153. Lead change coming up another time, and as they come to the line on the inside, it is Cale Yarborough battling Neil Bonnet for first place, side by side in turn number 1. What a dandy event we have here to bring you live on WTBS today. Cale Yarborough on the inside, driving in tremendous pain, still down there, still working for the lead. He qualified 4th. Neil Bonnet is on the outside as they approach turn 3.
Ken, you see Cale down in the lower groove, and that's definitely the fastest way around, 3 and 4, and he's got the lead right now.
It's number 28, Cale Yarborough, and he has a standing ovation as he comes by the crowd. They realize, they've been reading the paper all week about his condition. The big question, would he start today? Would he be able to go? Back on Thursday, the question was, would he even be able to qualify? Now he's leading, trying to win this race for the 2nd time in his great career.
Another note, Ken, Cale is using power steering. He just took that up here 2 races ago.
Richard Petty is fighting with Benny Parsons. That squabble is going on for the 6th position. Parsons showing some strength. Now as they come in, Parsons is out of the throttle. He's going to come on pit road. Parsons pulled up beside Petty. Then he just eased out of it. He's down on pit road. 6th place car is Petty, 7th place car is Elliott, and Benny Parsons is retiring. Parsons becomes the 16th retiree. Rudd is retired, now Benny Parsons is out. What a bad break for the Benny Parsons team today. The Jackson brothers having their difficulties. Phil Parsons, the younger brother of Benny, will run for Rookie of the Year in that Champion Sparkplug program next year. He's already out. Here's Cale Yarborough in front, and he's drawn to a 3-car length advantage over number 75, Neil Bonnet in 2nd place. Then it's 10 car lengths back to 3rd place, Bobby Allison. The situation on Darrell Waltrip, he is in 10th position, and they are reporting him as 2 laps down. 7 cars are in the lead lap, and the tail end of the lead lap is Bill Elliott in 7th place, Richard Petty in 6th, just barely in front of him. 157 laps complete. 157 down. 171 to go. So there's still a lot of racing here today. And the chance for misfortune hangs high on all those top leaders. An engine expiring on Allison's car now could entirely change the point situation as we move to Riverside, California. And a reminder again that WTBS will bring you live throughout the United States. There's Bill Elliott, that Riverside race. Now there's Bill Elliott. He has 8 second-place finishes. He's never won a Grand National race. But what a remarkable story, up at the top of the points. And he comes so close at Charlotte, at Daytona in the 500 this year. Right there knocking on the door, but just never over the top and up there into the land of milk and honey. Let's go to Dave Despain down there at the pit center.
This race is worth a tremendous amount of money to Bill Elliott. Ken, he's never won. If he can win here today, he's eligible for about $150,000 in next year's Winner's Circle program, $75,000 from Union Oil Company. It could be a $250,000 day for Elliott if he can win it. More on the Darrell Waltrip story. They've been having problems all day long. They changed 4 tires on the last pit stop. They ran with the leaders for a couple of laps, and then the car began to fade. They are still in trouble with handling. Both the Parsons brothers have gone to the pits in the last couple of minutes. Benny Parsons has the car locked in 4th gear. Phil Parsons also with a mechanical problem. That's the latest from down here in the STP Pit Center. We'll be back with more of the Atlanta Journal 500 live from Atlanta International Raceway right after this.
Continuing live coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500, brought to you by Old Milwaukee Beer and Old Milwaukee Light, 2 of America's great tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this. And racing doesn't get any better than what we're seeing now. We have Cale Yarborough in front, Neil Bonnet in 2nd, and then 15 car lengths back in 3rd is Bobby Allison. Let's go to Dave Despain.
We're here with one of the interested observers of today's Atlanta Journal 500, Wendell Scott. Black race driver in stock cars. Nobody else has done that. What's the most interesting thing about the stock car scene here in Atlanta for you? What are you keeping your eye on today?
Today? Well,
Well, it's changed so much from the last time I was here racing. I never won a feature race here, but I did win a consolation race here one Saturday. And these cars today are just so much more stupid than the cars when I was driving.
There's a young driver named Willie T. Ribbs coming up and making an awful lot of waves. What do you think of the possibilities that he'll be the first black driver to win, say, the Indianapolis 500 or a big league stock car race? Is that something you're watching with a little special pride?
Well, from what I can understand, he seems to really be a good driver. But winning at Indianapolis is still going to be a long ways to go.
No doubt about that. It's going to be a big accomplishment. Well, we got one quick word from Jerry Garrett. Thank you, Wendell Scott. Jerry, is there more on the Waltrip story?
Yes, Dave, they've admitted they've goofed up on this particular car. This is a new car. They've never run it in this configuration before. They took an older car, chopped up the power steering, made it a front steer car. And they thought they had it figured out in 2 days of practice, but obviously they say now they didn't.
One of our assigned pit reporters is Dick Berggren, and he has more right now. Dick?
As the afternoon wears on, Darrell Waltrip's chassis problems continue. The Junior Johnson organization is not particularly known with experimenting with new things, particularly late in the season. Here in Atlanta, however, they tried something very different. They took one of their older cars and cut it off at the firewall, put a new snout on it, tried a front steer with power steering. That's something they hadn't worked with. This is the first race they've tried to set this car up for. They came here early in the week. They tested for 2 days. They were delighted with the car before the green flag dropped. However, this afternoon has not gone their way. It's a pit with some very glum faces. Darrell Waltrip's car is not handling well.
Waltrip in 10th position, 2 laps down, but with the attrition continuing to build, he is moving up into the top 10. Here is a report from Jim Roller.
U.S. tobacco cars have had a rough day today. Benny Parsons has just become the 16th retiree in this race. Benny, what was the problem?
Something happened to the engine, I really don't know what. As I come off the second corner, I looked down at the water temperature gauge, and it was pegged. I decided it was time to quit since I already had clutch problems and had fallen 1 lap down.
You seem to be moving up through the field quite well. You were making a move on Richard when you had the problem. How are the track conditions?
Track seems to be
Lake Speed is up to the 4th position. Car number 1, and he is just pitting his car. There's Lake Speed on pit road. What a run he's making. That's the team that won their first Grand National race here in 1978 when Donnie Allison was at the keyboard. And the Mississippi driver, who was the former world go-karting champion, is now driving the car, and he'll fall back a bit here. The car is on pit road. There are 7 cars in the lead lap. That's the report. In the 8th position is Baker, in 9th is Shepard, and then 2 laps back in 10th, and a lap by himself is Darrell Waltrip. That is in 10th position. In 11th spot is Marcus, 12th is Kyle Petty, 13th is Sterling Marlin, and 14th is Jimmy Means, as we continue to focus on car number 1, Lake Speed. 15th is Jody Ridley, 16th is Virginia's Buddy Arrington, and the only Chrysler product on the field, and 17th is Delmer Coward. There's your leader, car number 28, Dale Yarborough, back in front. Yarborough is number 28. What a story there. 22 and 75 added another time. Allison and Neil Bonnet having a great battle.
Ken, on that Lake Speed pit stop, they're still in the pits. They're having trouble with their left rear tire. They either strip some studs off, or they can't get a nut off, or he's got a bad problem. They're still in there.
Well, that's too bad. He was all the way up to 4th place. He was in the lead lap, but it's cost him dearly. He's gone down 2 laps now. We are at lap 172, more than halfway in the event. 156 laps remain. We have had 3 caution periods to date in the race, and the lead changes, we've had 16 lead changes among 8 drivers thus far. Now there you see Buddy Arrington in the 67, the Chrysler car, out of Martinsville, Virginia, been coming to Atlanta since 1965, and in the preceding 18 years in the Atlanta Journal 500, Arrington has never fallen out of this race. That is some kind of record for Buddy. Fine driver. Hopefully Iacocca gets a car out here soon, don't you, like the old days?
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm sure Buddy hopes so, too.
2nd and 3rd place right there. There is Bobby Allison's number 22. Correction, that is the battle. It continues to go back and forth. Bobby Allison and Neil Bonnet. And it is now Allison into 2nd, Bonnet back to 3rd. Bonnet had been holding on to that second place. And now moving up, Bill Elliott is going to fourth. There you see him, number 9, and that's the first of the Fords now on the field. Bill Elliott from Dahlonega, Georgia. Number 9, Elliott. You know, I like his style. A moment ago, Despain was talking about, and there's the 5th place car, number 44, Tim Richmond. That Bill Elliott said earlier that he wanted to win a race, but what he really wanted was not the money. The most important reason to win was to prove that he could do it, because he hasn't done it yet. There is Terry Labonte maintaining a position up in that lead lap of the shot. It's still winning the Atlanta Journal 500. He is running in 5th spot. Cale Yarborough is leading in car number 28. We're back with you live once again from Atlanta International Raceway as we wind down the 1983 season. Darrell Waltrip and Bobby Allison in quest of the championship for the nation, and this man trying to win this $306,000 race. That man right there, number 28, is Cale Yarborough, who won this event in 1980. He's had 78 career Grand National victories, currently 4th overall in the standings for career wins. And there is Neil Bonnet in number 75, who is currently running in the 3rd position. We asked Neil Bonnet about how he liked racing at Atlanta, and this is what Neil Bonnet had to tell us.
I enjoy Atlanta, and it's kind of a place where one reason I enjoy it is the fans get to see one of the best shows on the circuit. And in turn, I'm going to try to get out there and do a little bit of work, see if I can't win the thing.
Well, he's doing a little bit of work right now. He's been battling for 2nd place with the old pedagogue, the man who brought him along, Bobby Allison, at number 22. Allison is pulled back into 2nd. Now, with a high attrition rate, Waltrip in 10th position is beginning to pick up some points here. And if the field keeps falling by the wayside, as they have thus far, before this one's over, that Riverside race, well, it's going to be right back down to it, Jeff.
Well, Ken, that's the key to this type of racing, Grand National racing, is just to be out there and finish the race. You're going to get points and you're going to gain. And I'm sure that's what's on Darrell's mind right now.
There you see him. Darrell Waltrip in the 10th position, a couple of laps down. You had that report from Dick Berggren as to what was going on with his car. They were trying something new, which is so unusual. So many seasons, Junior Johnston's been willing to give away the first half of the season and charge back with those magnificent finishes. They won 12 races the 2 years they won the title with Waltrip. This year, they're winners 6 times, as is Allison. But the field, all of it's become so much more competitive. Let's go back up and take a look right now at the man in first place. There he is. Yarborough, the winner of the Daytona 500. What a story that was. Crashed in qualifying, set a new record. I always liked what he said. In the first lap, I showed them how to go over 200 miles an hour. In the second lap, I showed them how not to go over 200 miles an hour, as he went side over side into the wall and then came back to win the race the following Sunday. One of the great stories of racing, and he won his very first Grand National race right on this track. To the pit center, here's Dave Despain.
One of the reasons the top 5 cars are the top 5 cars is the time spent on pit road. As we mentioned at the top of the show, races are won and lost in the pits. You want to spend as little time down here as possible. Here's the way it looks right now. Bobby Allison has spent less time on pit road than anybody else, 2 minutes and 2 seconds today. He's running 3rd. Terry Labonte has spent 2 minutes 15 seconds. He's running 5th. Bill Elliott, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. He's your 4th place car. And 2 minutes and 21 seconds puts Cale Yarborough's Waddell Wilson crew in 4th place in the pit standings and the lead on the racetrack. So obviously there's a direct connection. Lake Speed was in a few moments ago. He had moved into 4th. He broke 2 studs on the left rear wheel. They replaced the tire, came back in 1 lap later, put on new right side rubber, and now he'll try to scramble and make that lap back up. Lake Speed falling from the top 5. Ken?
186 laps will be complete this time by Bobby Allison in the 2nd position in car number 22. Allison in 2nd and trailing Cale Yarborough by over a second now with 218 miles remaining in the event. The 3rd place car is Neil Bonnet. Maintaining 4th is Elliott. 5th is Terry Labonte, and 6th is Richard Petty. Those are the cars in the lead lap. Buddy Baker is 1 lap down. Taking a look at the cars that have fallen by the wayside, the attrition on this race now stands at a total of 16 cars which are out of the race. 16 cars have fallen out, and the latest retiree was Benny Parsons, car number 55. Going back to the top, Blackie Wendren, if you just joined us, in trouble right at the very beginning. Greg Sachs, the New York driver, had a very bad crash in the early going and brought out a caution. Indiana fella Joe Ford drove. Harry Gant, he was off to a great start, and then it all fell away for him. Donnie Allison, who won it in 78, his car went away. The Ron Bouchard car. And it goes on and on through 16 automobiles, which no longer are on this court. There you see the Earnhardt car, McDuffie, Rutland, Richmond. And there is another lap going down on car number 11. Darrell Waltrip has just had another lap put on him by the leader, number 28. So there is something really amiss, and there is a very unhappy Junior Johnson. Not very happy about this race at all. The man who won this race himself in the early years of the event. Junior Johnson, back in 1963, drove to victory here. Since then, he's built a great record on having cars pull into victory lane. And the Junior Johnson cars here, well, he's done it with Bobby Allison for one over the years, and a host of others as well. The wins for Johnson Engineering, 68, 69, 72, and 80. And of course, in 63, back in that time, he was driving for Ray Fox when he won the race. Here's your leader once again, Cale Yarborough, car number 28. A long time since 1967, when he first saw his name spelled out as the winner of a major superspeedway race, and it was right here on this track. In the latest rundown, it still shows Waltrip, although you just saw him being put another lap down by car number 28, Cale Yarborough. He is still running 10th overall in the field. The average speed on the race is staying about 133 miles per hour. Live coverage, flag to flag, here on WTBS today. And our live coverage will continue at Riverside, California, in the grand finale on that 9-turn road course. How do you feel about finishing the season on a road course? You people are oval racers. You have to finish the season out there on something which is unique, different.
Ken, no one is real happy with going on the West Coast to finish the season out. They all would like to do it either here at Atlanta or maybe Talladega or Daytona even. We all enjoy going to Riverside, all the drivers. It's a lot of fun for us. It's a lot of work for the crews. They have to haul everything out all the way to the West Coast, and it's a long trip for them. And for the car owners, it's a lot of expense. And, you know, it looks like maybe here in a year or so we won't be going out there.
Jeff Bodine's thoughts about finishing the season. Of course, all the folks in the Southeast would like to see this race in Atlanta terminate the year. The third-place car is becoming Bill Elliott. Number 9 has been wheeling along up through here of recent. And Elliott is running a lead lap all day. 6 cars in the lead lap. Cale stays in front, but Elliott is beginning to become a factor. I wonder how long, and there you see the crew on the 28 car, anxiously looking on, as concerned about their driver's condition today as how that car is working.
Well, that car is working absolutely perfectly, and I talked to Cale the other day in the garage area about how it was running. He said, it's running so good it scares me.
There he is down the main straightaway. Correction, that is into turn 3. He is into turn 3. Cale Yarborough in front. Second place car, Allison. Third place car, now Elliott. And dropping to 4th is car number 75, Neil Bonnet. So, in front stays car number 28, Yarborough. Injured, but still the strength of the field. We'll be back with more in a moment.
It's a lonely kind of job.
Live from the Atlanta International Raceway. Race fan looking on here. Wonder if that changes color as the day goes on. On the speedway, car number 28, Cale Yarborough is still commanding the race at over 133-mile-an-hour average. In the second position is Bobby Allison, and maintaining third is Bill Elliott. There is the number 28 car that stays up in front as they continue to check the watches, and he continues to maintain the pace. And car number 44 and 43, they're beginning to get together in a battle for 5th and 6th. There's Bill Elliott, who lives in the small community of Dawsonville, just a stone's throw from this track. never been able to put it together on what he would consider his home track. A 6th-place finish in 81, his best to date. Elliott in the Grand National Racing back in 1977 when his family bought a worn-out old Ford driven by Richie Panch at the time, and he got his start there. Last year they bought out the Roger Penske Mercury racing equipment, and Bill Elliott continues to knock on the door, which he is doing again this afternoon, now in the 3rd position. Behind him comes Neil Bonnet. Now there's 64. There's the story. Tommy Gale. He's out of McKeesport, Pennsylvania. He's about to be lapped by Terry Labonte, and with him comes Richard Petty, and that is developing into a battle. That's the battle for 5th and 6th. That's 64, Tommy Gale, last race. He's been out 224 times. He's never pulled it off, and he's trying today in the last time before he goes into retirement. Down out of the turn comes Tommy Gale here at the Atlanta International Raceway. Sterling Marlin, what about winning your Rookie of the Year possibility?
It's quite a disappointment. There's no two ways about it. Everybody runs to win, let's face it. But I've also, you know, down deep inside, through my heart, I've realized that we just didn't have the money. Money buys speed here, and that's the name of the game. If you got the big money, you can run quick. If you don't have the big money, you're going to run in the back of the pack. Of course, we have like a race within a race. There's a few of us, Jimmy Means and Buddy Aronson, D.K. Ulrich, and a few of the others. We all get together here, and we more or less race each other as well as racing the leaders. So actually, you could call that a race within a race.
It was not a matter of the Rookie of the Year. It was a matter of a question to Tommy Gale about the disappointment about never having won a single race in his career. Let's go to Dave Despain.
The issue for Tommy Gale is money, and the noise and confusion down here in the pits sort of rival the New York Stock Exchange, where a lot of money changes hands. That's relevant because this sport has reached a stage where corporate sponsorship of these race teams, the kind of sponsorship Tommy Gale doesn't have, are the key to winning races. Cale Yarborough, your current leader, is a very good example. This man doesn't even run for the Grand National Championship. He runs only selected races. The reason for that is that he wants to stay home with the family. Despite that, he's one of the highest paid athletes in the stock car racing business. We've got Bill Elliott. We're going to break. We've got Bill Elliott coming into the pits. Let's go to that. This is one of your lower finance teams, but right now they're right up there in the hunt. They are on pit road at this moment, and that will cost them 3rd place. This is a family operation. The brother is the crew chief. The rest of the family all work on the car. The sponsorship is not mega bucks, but they're in there today pitching for their first championship victory on the Grand National Circuit. That is Bill Elliott. That is one of the low-dollar racing efforts out here. We were talking about Cale Yarborough. The reason he gets so much money to run only a partial schedule is because Cale delivers when it counts. Television races. He's won 4 of them this year. His sponsor, Hardee's Hamburgers. There's going to be a corporate merger. Hamburger stands sell a lot of soft drinks. Next year, look for a big announcement involving that car. The key is exposure. If you can get it, you can make an awful lot of money driving stock cars. Your current leader, Cale Yarborough, is the proof. Back to you, Ken.
Shadows lengthening over Yarborough's car, number 28, as he still holds on to the lead. Are you surprised that he's staying out in front like this, Jeff Bodine?
Not really, Ken. He was running extremely strong in practice, and, you know, like I said, Bobby Allison practices more than anyone in the circuit during the week, and he's still running a strong race. I think he's just kind of happy where he's at. You know, he knows Darrell's down a few laps and having problems. Bobby is probably just let up a little bit just to save his car. He's not too concerned about Cale Yarborough right now.
Allison is maintaining in number 22, the 2nd position. And there's Richard Petty now in the pits. Richard Petty, who has been running in the 4th position, and he stays up in that lead lap. Richard Petty.
This is a scheduled stop, Ken. They're changing right side tires. They're inside the back of the car making a little adjustment, and he's off and away.
And you're looking out of Richard Petty's car as he comes down pit road and goes back into turn number 1. By one of the brand new suites there. Here comes number 28, Cale Yarborough now pitting. 21, Buddy Baker, a lap down. He is just pitted. Cale Yarborough in for a stop. Comes to a halt. right side rubber going on Cale's car. They clean off the front and try to get as much air in there as possible, Jeff.
Well, that's right. You run around these racetracks, you pick up a lot of rubber in the screening on the radiator, and you always clean that when you come in for a pit stop.
Allison takes the lead. The stop was a little over 15 seconds under green. I'm sure that Cale wanted it a little snappier than that. There is Neil Bonnet, who's been running in the front 5, was 4th just before this pit stop period began. Neil Bonnet in for his stop. Good, tough driver in this one.
He sure is. He's off and away too, Ken.
Neil Bonnet, part of the super team in '84. Back on the track. New leader is Allison in the 22. Bobby Allison in front. Terry Labonte is now second. Terry Labonte is now reported in second position. And the pit roads where the activity is for the moment. Ken Reagan just bringing his car in. He's had a pretty good run today in car number 77. Reagan staying out there and currently in 19th position. The guy was at just about 4 or 5 Grand National races. Here is car number 22. Allison still up in front. Here's Dave Despain.
This is a routine round of pit stops. All the cars were due for fuel. They can run 65 laps, about 100 miles on a tank of gas. They're making a stop here at about 2:05. That means one more stop at 2:70 or thereabouts if we continue to run under green, and that will be the last pit stop of the race. The leader is coming to the pits. Cale Yarborough is coming to pit road right now for his routine stop.
That's Bobby Allison.
It is Allison. It is Allison coming in.
Allison's number 22 is on pit road. And Terry Labonte will assume the lead in number 44. Car number 22, Bobby Allison, was running in second before the pit stop period began. Now, do you think that he's just holding on out here, or does he really want to thrash that car? I would say that he want to hold on. We're down at a point with 208 laps now complete, with 208 complete. And 120 to go, 316 miles in. You don't want to use it all up now.
No, Ken. Bobby is just really in a good position right now with Darrell down some laps. Darrell,
there he is back in 10th.
Yeah, he's been having problems all day, and Bobby knows it. And Darrell knows it, too. I'm sure he's not a very happy man out there right now.
210 laps complete this time by. And Terry Labonte has the advantage. He's now on pit road. Car number 44. Terry Labonte pulling in. Leader is in. Here he is coming in for his pit stop. It would be something if he won 2 back-to-back and only win 3 years ago. But that team has really gelled, too, this year.
That team has come together exceptional the last half of the season. TA2 with their engine man is doing a fantastic job in their engine department. They've really run strong.
Good pit stop, too. 14 seconds, and he's back underway. 14 seconds and back on the track goes car number 44, Terry Labonte, and our new leader after this round of pit stops, I believe, is 28, Cale Yarborough. This puts Cale first, Bobby Allison back to second, Neil Bonnet in third. That's unofficial. And fourth probably Richard Petty. We'll just see where car number 44 sifts into that after that pit stop he made. They're reporting car number 43 is perhaps going a lap down. What a bad break for Petty.
Yeah, it is. Richard runs well here at Atlanta, and he was running real well, and apparently he just got off a little bit. And when you don't have a lot of cautions, run a couple pit stops without having that happen, the leader like Cale Yarborough, the way he's running, you can come around and lap you real easy.
16 cars have now retired from the event. 16 are on the trailers and ready to go home from this Atlanta Journal 500. It's fortune following that many of the 40 starters here today. Latest man out is Benny Parsons. Ricky Rudd. It's been some time since Parsons fell out of the race. There you see Richard Petty's 43, which has gone a lap down on the latest report. Yarborough first, Allison in second. Going to third, Bill Elliott, Terry Labonte in fourth, and Neil Bonnet in fifth. That's the latest picture with 213 laps down to this Atlanta Journal 524th edition. Allison trying to win it back-to-back. Richard Petty trying to win it for a fifth time. And here is car number 11 in another time. things not well with Waltrip, and let's watch this pit stop. Car number 11 for the man fighting with Bobby Allison for the lead. Remember, as he pits, he is 10th, 2 laps down, locks up the rear brakes, and comes to a halt.
Well, they've got 4 tires running, Ken. They're changing the right side right now, and putting fuel in the back of the car. That I think one of the most important things on a pit stop is to clean that windshield. That boy's really rubbing hard to get that clean for him. They changed 2 tires and off they go.
Now, the other part of the problem is that with those greasy windshields and the sun coming right into your eyes out of turn 2, it makes it just miserable driving at this time of day. It's Cale Yarborough, perhaps for Bobby Allison to win. We'll know shortly here in the Atlanta Journal 500. Five cars remain in the lead lap of the Atlanta Journal 500. Cale Yarborough first. Bobby Allison is in second. Bill Elliott third. Terry Labonte fourth. Neil Bonnet maintaining fifth. A lap down is Richard Petty. Neil Bonnet into the 4th position. The late report, he and Terry Labonte are still out there slugging it out. Then in the 6th position, Petty. In the 7th position, Baker. 8th is Morgan Shepherd. 9th is Marcus. And 10th is Darrell Waltrip having his problems. He is back on the track. Let's go back to the pits for this report.
I'm with Bob Rahilly, crew chief for Neil Bonnet. You guys are running ever so strong, but can you run down Bill Elliott, Cale Yarborough, and Bobby Allison?
I believe so. We showed our stuff early in the race. We've run it down. The sun's come out. We're a little loose. As soon as we get a caution, put some fight, we'll be right where we were before the sun come out. We'll be all right.
There's the story pit side.
The temperature up into the 60s. There you see the Neil Bonnet car lapping Sterling Marlin, who was in that battle for Rookie of the Year. He and Trevor Boyce have had a really good slugfest toward the end of the 1983 campaign for the Champion Sparkplug Rookie of the Year program. And right now, Trevor Boyce closing on Sterling Marlin with a race to go. There's the leader. Down in the first turn area, number 28, Cale Yarborough, still in front. Just a remarkable performance by a driver who is really driving hurt today, Jeff.
He is. He's in real bad pain. And Cale has got power steering on his car, like many of the other fellas, and he said without that power steering, he wouldn't be able to drive.
Lead automobile back across the line. That will be his 222nd lap. Going into today's race, 27 points separated Allison and Waltrip in their own little vendetta to decide the big money that goes with the championship. Who do you want to win the championship? We asked that of several of the leading drivers here in the Atlanta Journal 500. Men like Terry Labonte, Perry Gant, Benny Parsons, who all have aspirations of their own. But here's what they had to say about this showdown.
Bobby's run an awful lot of years and run awful close to winning the championship, and he's been awful good for the sport. So since he hadn't won it, I guess I'd kind of like to see him win one.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be depending on if Bobby can come out of this race, with a better point lead, or at least with a point lead that he's got right now.
Well, I don't have a preference, really and truly. I think that both of them would be great champions. Darrell has proven that he is a great champion, and I think Bobby would be a great champion as well. May the best man win.
Indeed. Now, Cale Yarborough right now is about to lap Darrell Waltrip another time as they come down out of the 4th turn. 230 laps complete when they come to the line. Directly up in front of them is Terry Labonte. The number 44 car, which is running the 5th, could go a lap down here in the next couple of laps. Waltrip looks a little stouter than he has of recent.
Darrell is running a little stronger, Ken, but he's still way off the pace. Of course, if you're not really running good, you're going to be way off the pace against a guy like Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison, because their cars are just absolutely working perfect. See how low they run through that corner? That is a perfect line through the turn 3 and 4.
Car number 28 in another lap, and Bobby Allison drags along too. Car number 22 is lapping Waltrip. Putting Waltrip still another lap down to the leaders, Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison. There you see Waltrip on the high side as the two leaders run in close proximity out of turn number 2. Elliott staying third. The man in jeopardy going to lap down here is Terry Labonte in 44. Terry Labonte's number 44. Right there, the leaders are not too far from collecting him. Let's go to Dave Despang.
We're with Terry Labonte's car owner right now, Billy Hagan. Billy, you're in danger of going a lap down here. Is Terry running to your satisfaction today?
Well, Terry generally always runs to my satisfaction. Sometimes maybe the car isn't working quite as well as we'd like, or the tires aren't quite working quite as well as we like. But Terry always gets the job done with what he's got to work with.
Of course, he's our most recent winner on the stock car circuit here, having won last week at Rockingham. Billy, I'm interested in the economics of this game. You guys have a new sponsor next year with Piedmont Airlines, and you've won a race, and you're running strong here today. What does it cost to put all this together? As your car goes a lap down to the leader, what does this racing team cost you a year?
It costs about $35,000 per race to run the circuit.
$35,000 per race.
Right, that's counting 31 races per year. If you have a lot of bad luck, you can run the car stuff even more, but about $35,000.
It's a high-buck effort. This is the man with the money in the 44 car. Terry Labonte has just gone a lap down to the leaders from the STP Spit Communication Center. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Bobby Allison has now picked up, gone into second around that lap car, and he stays right there looking for a move on Cale Yarborough, your leader in 28. There's Yarborough, and there you see the 22 car running in second place. The overall win here, both former winners of the Atlanta Journal 500. Getting down and look at this 3 cars wide, and Cale down the inside of some slower cars up on the outside. That's Senator in the 80 and Ken Reagan, both up in the high groove. Not exactly where you want them, Jeff.
Ken, I'll tell you, that's some exciting moments for a race car driver coming up on slow cars. You never really know where they're going to go. Now, that time, those 2 cars were high down the back straightaway, but they could have cut down in front of either one of those guys and caused a big problem. Very exciting moments.
Tommy Gale in the last race of his career has just pulled back on pit road another time. Still, but 16 have retired. After we got to Benny Parsons' car, they've drawn a line there, and not too many more have fallen out. Nice bright day down the backstretch is a disaster for a driver. That sun hits you square in the eyes, and then right into this very dark shadow, and with the amount of grease, tire wear that rolls up in those windows, it makes seeing out of these race cars a terrible problem at this point in the race.
It does, Ken. I guess one way to relate that problem these drivers are having is like if you're driving down the road on a nice sunny day and drive into a dark tunnel, you know, there for a few seconds you can't see where you're going, and it's the same problem in this race car.
And it's happening for these people about every 3 seconds. And back on their spot in turn number 3. They just put a lap on Morgan Shepherd. There's that blue and yellow car number 2, which is running 8th overall on the field. Shepherd on the bottom of the track. And still, Allison draws up to make a run on Yarborough to win this Atlanta Journal 500. Will Yarborough sustain his run and win it for the second time? Or will Bobby Allison, who won it a year ago, come back and do it again? There are the standings. Terry Labonte has now gone a lap down. That red line on your screen indicating that he is a lap down. Front 4 together. I tell you right now, they would like the opportunity to gather themselves back up. Meanwhile, for Waltrip, the day grows longer and harder. He's up to 9th, just out of attrition. You know, Jeff, when you're running back like that, it's so much longer and so much more difficult to stay out there than when you're running well and up in front.
I know what Darrell's going through right now. I guess every driver's had problems on certain days, and it's just no fun to be out there knowing that you're 2 or 3 laps down and knowing there's nothing you can do to get them back. The only thing you can hope for is if everyone drops out in front of you, and you can move up some spots.
Here's Dave Despain.
We're at lap 232. Again, we're expecting a pit stop at lap 270 if we continue to run under green. One of the really dramatic things that's happening here in terms of pit strategy is virtually no yellow flags. This race has been clean and green, and that means a lot of wear and tear on the race cars. These crew chiefs are hoping for another yellow. In the cases of those cars that have some work to be done, some maintenance work, they need a yellow flag to be able to do that. A couple of other interesting notes. This race has only been won twice in the same year on 3 different occasions. David Pearson did it in '73, Bobby Allison in '72, Marvin Panch way back in 1965. Cale Yarborough is out to try to win both the Atlanta races here in 1983. That would duplicate the feat of Bobby Allison back in '72. Allison, of course, is the defending champion. One more pit stop to come if we stay under green. That's the current story of the Atlanta Journal 500, and we'll be back with more of TBS Sports live coverage of this monumental sporting event right after this.
I'd sure like another Stroh's.
No way.
Preparing for the final pit stops here in the Atlanta Journal 500. Cale Yarborough and Allison locked in a duel to decide this race for the 24th time, the $306,000 event. And a lot of folks out on what looks to be a gorgeous football kind of day to see a great racing scrap next to last race of 1983 on the Winston Cup Tour. And there are the two gentlemen in the adversarial role to decide this Atlanta Journal 500. And perhaps for Bobby Allison, even more important, move him just another step closer to the pinnacle of stock car racing. Here's a point. Darrell Waltrip has not led a lap in this race, and it is apparent that he will not do so. He's a couple of laps down. So he has already lost 5 bonus points to Bobby Allison today. He's reported as 3 laps down, though he is in 9th position. Bobby Allison, if you're watching here, there is Darrell Waltrip, who started coming to this race back in 1976, and he did a grand job the first year. He had a 7th place finish, won the race in 77. But this is that pivotal event for Bobby Allison, all important. Darrell Waltrip stays in front. Now you see the battle for the lead. There's Cale Yarborough right there in front, and right with him comes Bobby Allison. Is Allison waiting, Jeff?
That's a good question, Ken. I really think Bobby Allison's just riding there behind Cale Yarborough. Bobby is awful smart, and if he rides behind Cale and gets up close to him, he's going to get a little bit of gas mileage. And in a race like this, that's very important. You get your fuel mileage. And I don't think he's straining his car one bit. I think he's just riding there real comfortable.
They've just lapped Kyle Petty, who's running 14th. Kyle Petty in the number 7 car. And here they are, getting up and taking a shot at the 0-2 to put him a lap down. Mike Potter out of Johnson City, Tennessee. And still, Waltrip holding on by his fingernails now. It's his wife, Stevie, keeping track of where he is. It's relatively easy today. It's not up front. It's back there in 9th. In 8th is Morgan Shepherd, a lap in front of him. It's got to be hard on your wife. Your wife is your scorer, too. Kathy scores for you, and on a day like this when things aren't going well, I bet that wears long for the other half.
It does. It's a great tribute to our wives. I don't envy their position any. They're just sitting there.
Look at this battle for the lead. Down into turn number 3. It is Allison and Waltrip at it again. Allison tried to make a move on the inside. Allison beginning to want to go for it here. And as they found a lap car, he took a shot down on the inside. Wasn't able to quite get through. But it looks like Bobby wants to go for it, Jeff.
Yeah, and I can't really hardly believe that because the position he's in, taking a chance like that, trying to pass Cale and lap traffic, it's awful dangerous. Like I said before, you never know where the slower traffic is going to go, and there he goes underneath Cale again.
And the crowd is up and cheering as down the back straightaway. Bobby Allison, championship at stake or not, look, he gets pulled up on a lap car and has trouble getting through. Just barely whistling through as he moves around Jody Ridley. Bobby Allison in the 22 has taken the lead from 28, Cale Yarborough. There's one thing about it, if there's a race to be run, it's a race to be won for Allison, and he looks as happy as a toad in the Lord's pocket as he comes off number 2 out in front. Look at that number. We have a car in trouble in turn number 2. Del McCoward's car has crashed going into the wall. He has spun around. He's lying in the track. Here you see him. The number 0 car of Del McCoward of Savannah, Georgia, is bringing out a caution. This will bring the 4 cars in the lead lap together, and it will bring 5th, 6th, and 7th, 1 lap down, Labonte, Petty, Richard, and Buddy Baker together. So the Atlanta Journal 500, just when you think it begins to stabilize, all of a sudden new developments. The latest created when Del McCoward has trouble in turn number 2. And Allison decided to go racing in lap traffic, no less, with Cale Yarborough.
Well, Ken, there's more at stake than just winning a race and the point championship. There's a lot of money if you lead the most laps, and I guess Bobby wants it all today.
Let's take a look at the replay here, Jeff Bodine. Snarled the wall on the outside. Skitters down in the center of the track, and he'll loop it again. Would presume that's a tire problem, Jeff.
Well, it's real hard to say what might have happened. He could have busted an engine or a tire. Delmer, he's a good old boy. He tries real hard,
and he's in trouble right now.
He's just sort of a part-time racer.
All the leaders are in. Leaders all pitting. Cale Yarborough's in, Terry Labonte, Bobby Allison all taking this opportunity to refuel. The race is at 245 laps. 245 complete. There remain 83 laps to go. So they can go home from here, can't they? One more.
One more.
They'll have to come in and fuel one more time.
They're putting all 4 tires on now, Ken, so that'll allow them to, if they have to stop on the green for the last stop, they'll just probably change the right side tires and leave the left sides on since they've got all 4 new right now.
Bobby Allison going for that championship comes back. Cale Yarborough pulls out. First year of this event back in 1960 was a 300-miler. Here inside with Richard Petty. Back inside Richard's automobile, car number 43. Has a little drink. Now, do you drink water or you drink soda out there when you're in a race?
Everyone has a little different drink they like to take. Some like the Gatorade product. That's real good for you. Some just like water. Some like soda. There's no real one thing that everyone drinks.
Richard Petty, the only starter in today's field who has competed in the very first Atlanta Journal 500, back when it was the Dixie 300, and you're with him as he comes on the track. Throughout the life of this proud auto racing facility, Richard Petty has always been in the starting field, except one. That was in '65, back when Chrysler Corporation set out the year in a rules dispute with NASCAR. And Petty has bagged 4 Atlanta Journal 500 wins, but in recent years, this has not been one of his better races. Been since '79 the King has finished the race at all. The last time he won it in '74. There's Allison, who won it last year. Let's talk about Bobby Allison and that pass he made going after Cale Yarborough.
Ken, you know, like I said before, it's hard to believe he would try that kind of a move in this stage of the race in the position he's at. He's just riding out there comfortable, way ahead of Darrell Waltrip. And to make a move like this,
you never know where that lap car is going to decide. Of course, that's Jody Ridley, and he's a real veteran with a lot of experience. Won at Dover one time for Junie Donlevy.
And if you notice, Cale Yarborough did slide up the track a little bit. He showed a gentlemanly move there. He gave Bobby Allison room.
Well, we're getting ready to resume live coverage of the Atlanta Journal 500 here on WTBS. Pace car is coming by. Allison in front. Terry Labonte's number 44, lap down, is just behind the lead car. There's Bobby Allison's 1983 Grand National wins. That Richmond win came just after, as you saw here on WTBS, the Daytona 500. What a performance he put on there that day on a half mile. He's so good on a short track. He's good in anything. He was good in Indy cars. He's good in these cars. Hard to beat a guy like Allison, but Cale Yarborough's doing the number today. We'll be back as we move toward conclusion of the Atlanta Journal 500 with more WTBS live coverage from Atlanta International Raceway. One lap and we will be racing. Hello from Atlanta International Raceway. We're live WTBS coverage of this next to last race, and the $10 million Winston Cup Series is coming to you today. I'm Ken Squire alongside 1982 Grand National Rookie of the Year, Jeff Bodine. Dave Despain, the editor of Motor Week Illustrated, which you see on WTBS 5:35 to 6:05 each Saturday. The weekly racing news program, weekly motoring program. Hope you watch that every Saturday. He's with us. Let's go quickly down to Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center.
Bobby Allison's computer predicted a yellow flag at lap 250. It came at 245. We are now at lap 250. Their game plan was to take the lead with this yellow flag. They're coming down to green. Let's see if Allison will follow the computer strategy. Ken?
As they prepare for the restart, Allison first, Yarborough second, Bill Elliott's in third, Neil Bonnet's in fourth. 4 great race drivers lumped together up in front as we get down to decision time this afternoon. Coming around, 250 laps complete, engines coming to full song, 78 laps to go in the 24th running of this great Southern racing tradition across the line. Terry Labonte is on the inside. Remember, he is running 1 lap down in 5th place. Buddy Baker is in 6th. Richard Petty is in 7th. They are all in the same lap. Allison swinging around the 44, and here comes Cale, Jeff.
Well, that's right. Cale's drafting on Bobby right now. You can't really make a move on him to pass him this lap, but at least he got him by in Labonte.
Gathered up. hooked up for the assault on the checkered flag. One more quick stop for fuel, and that's all they're going to need to drive them home. Now they come across this line, and 252 laps are now shown. 252 down, complete here at Atlanta International Raceway. There they are. Bobby Allison first. He has 79 Grand National wins. The man tucked right on his rear bumper has 78. Third and fourth, the overall driver standings through the years of the NASCAR Late Model Tour. Going to the Winston Cup is Bobby Allison. Cale Yarborough with a curtailed schedule, running 16 to 18 races a year. Incidentally, Delmer Coward's number 0, which spun and brought out the 4th caution of the day, is back underway. He is running again. You're with Richard Petty. They're inside Petty's car in 7th place. See that cloth in his mouth? It's synonymous with Petty in a race car. Never seen it before, but he uses a damp rag in his mouth. He says it helps relax him. Another one of those things that a driver does that's particular to the individual.
That's right, Ken. I've tried that rag in a mouth trick, and it just doesn't work for me, but it sure does work for Richard Petty.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Bobby Allison's crew says it's going to be very close. Very, very close. But they think they can make it all the way to the end of this race without another fuel stop. Probably no organization on pit road has worked harder to achieve fuel economy than this. They've developed a special carburetor that they call the economizer. They worked on the intake manifold, the cylinder heads, all to give them better gas mileage, and all just for situations like this. It's going to be tight, but they think they can make it all the way.
Well, there's the story from Dick Berggren. One of these competitors thinks he's going to go right down the line. The Allison crew feeling that perhaps at the end of this one, they can take the deep breath and run out of gas as they cross the stripe.
Well, they've done that all year, Ken. They've really gotten a lot better mileage than any other team in the circuit all year long, and they've developed that carburetor and their intake manifold to give them real good fuel mileage.
Now they've drawn away. They have pulled away from the rest of the field. They have almost 5 seconds, and here comes Yarborough down to the inside. Yarborough challenging now turn number 4. It's Cale Yarborough on the inside, on the outside of the racetrack as they go into turn number 1. Bobby Allison goes back to 2nd place.
That was a good move by Cale. He has an awful strong engine coming off the corners. Waddell Wilson is their engine builder and crew chief, and they work extremely hard on getting a lot of low-end torque.
Here comes Allison back. Bobby Allison gets right back into it on the inside. You wouldn't think that the championship that he's been after since 1966, all he wants is this race.
It looks that way right now. He's putting on a heck of a show for the spectators, and Bobby wants to win. There's no doubt about it.
I walked out of the hotel this morning with Cale Yarborough, and I really didn't believe he would last more than 100 miles. He can hardly move one leg. He cannot move his shoulder. Here he is, still going. There's Cale Yarborough's pits. They're getting ready. They know they're going to come in one more time on that car. They're setting down the fuel can, 11 gallons there, getting ready to dump. And they would only have to dump in, what, 3, 4, 5 gallons to get them home. Through the darkness of turns 3 and 4, that heavy shadow. And Neil Bonnet has talked about that, about the tremendous contrast, as you did, Jeff. It's just blinding when you go in there. And then the next moment, you're back out again. You ever try going through there, driving the one eye to see if you can keep it balanced out like they tell you to do at night if somebody's got their lights in your eyes?
Never tried that one.
Well, there's that man out in front, Cale Yarborough. And there you see Richard Petty with 198, David Pearson 105. Whoa, trouble on Cale Yarborough's car. The engine is erupting on Yarborough's automobile. Allison dives to the inside. Cale is hit. He spins. Bill Elliott's car tagged him. Elliott's car is all shriveled up in the nose. He's coming across the line. The 3rd place car, Elliott, showing a lot of smoke. Cale unhitching. 28 has come apart. Well, what a circumstance this is. Bill Elliott is down toward turn number 1, limping around the track. There he is. Look at the front end of Bill Elliott's milling tool car number 9. Been running at 30, just caught the back end of Cale Yarborough's automobile. Somehow, Allison found the daylight on the inside and was able to get out of the problem. Cale just sitting there. Hard one.
It is, Ken. I've been in that situation before, and I'm sure Cale is very, very disappointed.
Leaders are all pitting. Allison is in. Let's look at replay. Now there is the Yarborough car. And there you see Allison down below the white line. And now watch coming into your frame. Bill Elliott at number 9. Bang, into the back end of Yarborough. Sets him spinning like a top. We'll have another look at this. Here's Yarborough coming to a halt. Yarborough coming to rest. Here's a second angle look in the darkness here of that corner. There's the engine going. And there is Bill Elliott collecting the tail end of Cale Yarborough's car. Oh, what a disappointing day for such a great driver as Cale Yarborough and for Bill Elliott, this young new star. Both of them taken out of this race at the same moment. Yarborough's car coming back. He has it fired. And there is Bill Elliott coming back in the race. Give that kid an A for effort. Bill Elliott coming back on, having gone a lap down. Cale Yarborough is in. Elliott is out. Yarborough retired. Yarborough out. Allison commanded. The 24th annual Atlanta Journal 500. Back with more live coverage in a moment. We're live from the Atlanta International Raceway. You're watching Bill Elliott trying to get back in this thing. He was running third. Cale Yarborough has been running in front. Yarborough's engine went away. No place for Elliott to go. He ran into the back end of the car. There is Cale Yarborough. Let's go down quickly to Jim Roller standing by.
Cale Yarborough, you were running so well. What happened?
Well, we lost an engine. You know, these things happen, but this Hardy Chevrolet was just doing a fantastic job for me. And it's just one of those things that happen in racing, but we'll be back.
How do you feel right now? You went through the whole race with a lot of pain. Are you okay?
Well, I'm still awful sore, but I didn't let it bother me today. You know, you just block those things out of your mind when you got a job to do and go try to get it done.
Cale Yarborough, after running so well with so much pain, Ken Squire, very sorry way to end his day. Back to you.
Limping back, Cale Yarborough, car number 28. When Yarborough lost the engine, his MC Anderson Buick last year and wrecked the Dale Earnhardt, it was the first time the old Timminsville Taylor had fallen out of the Atlanta Journal 500. He's talking with Waddell Wilson there. And there you see Neil Bonnet coming back out. Talk about grit. Talk about folks like Yarborough and Neil Bonnet and this man up in front, Bobby Allison. There you see the blue and yellow number 2 car of Morgan Shepherd. Morgan's car is 7th overall in the field. He's 2 laps down. They're reporting that Elliott's car is in the lead lap, and we're checking with our statistician, Bob Leffert, who is reporting, who is asking again, checking with scoring on that situation.
He's still sitting in the pits, Ken. He's probably going to go down.
He is going to go a lap down now, and we will be back underway with 2 cars in the lead lap. Bobby Allison and Neil Bonnet, both members of the Alabama gang. What a bad day for Elliott. He's sitting in there as the green flag comes out. Race is back underway at the 264th circuit, leaving 64 to go. There you see Richard Petty's car right up in there. Petty is a lap down. He is running in 5th with Baker and had been with Elliott. Elliott's car is coming out, and a tremendous cheer from the crowd as Elliott rolls back on the track. There's Neil Bonnet's number 75, holding on to 2nd position and trying to move through. There's Richard Petty, the car number 43, which is now up to 4th overall. 5th is Baker, 6th in there. And you see pictures coming from the car of Richard Petty as he comes down the main straightaway, sailing right along behind the leader. But he is a lap down. He is trying to fend off Buddy Baker in a battle for 4th position. There's Cale Yarborough walking away. Now it hurts even more. I tell you, that's more than he's moved his shoulder in a week. At least that loosened up a little before the motor loosened up. Cale Yarborough out of it in most dramatic fashion. Here's Petty going down into turn number 1, and right with him comes the car number 21 of Buddy Baker. And the scramble is on there. Richard Petty in that number 43 car Keep your eye on Buddy Baker in the 21 car, the Wood Brothers car pulling up on the inside. You're following the scramble for third place now. They are a lap down, and up comes Buddy Baker in the third place. Baker, former winner of the Atlanta Journal 500, 1975, has himself a spot as Richard Petty falters a little here. Petty coming back, staying to the high side, Jeff.
Yeah, Buddy's been running real good this whole race. He got down a lap early, but the Fords, this kind of racetrack is good for a Ford car.
Now there's Buddy Baker up there as you watch Bobby Allison. Buddy Baker's number 21, and now here comes Waltrip. Waltrip is getting around Richard Petty. Now Waltrip looks like he may have got the combination, but it's a little late for that now as he's 2 laps down from the leader. Strike that, 3 laps down from the leader. Waltrip 3 laps down in 8th place. There's the 75 car of Neil Bonnet. Allison is doing just a big draw away. He's pulling away from the field, and the engineering that has gone into that Dygaard team this year has been really paying off here at the end of the season. The last 2 years, the Junior Johnson team turned things around at the end of the season. Well, this year, the Dygaard team seems to have it going their way, and as much driver, it is crew, and the people that back you up back in the shop. Here's Dave Despain.
That last yellow flag came at a very crucial point. The calculators are running furiously down in the pit as all of these teams try to determine whether or not they can go the distance from here on fuel. You heard a very optimistic report from Allison 10 laps before the yellow that they thought they could make it. I don't think they could from there. The book says 65 laps, 100 miles. The good teams can stretch it a little bit further. This race went back under green with 65 laps to run. It's going to be very, very close for the teams that don't have good fuel economy, and if somebody runs out of gas, those Fords of Buddy Baker and Bill Elliott, even though it's damaged, do get very good gas mileage. They'll likely go the distance. This race could be a battle of fuel economy after 500 bullet fast miles. Ken?
58 laps remaining now on Bobby Allison's car, number 22. Crucial key race for Allison. His quest for the national driving title. Allison is in front. Waltrip is in 8th. Between them, Neil Bonnet is in 2nd. A lap down in 3rd is Baker. 4th, Labonte. 5th, Richard Petty. 6th, Bill Elliott. 7th, Morgan Shepherd. 8th is the Waltrip. 9th, Marcus. And 10th is Dean Combs. Car number 97. Front 10. Allison continuing to just dominate this race. I haven't seen a race dominated like this in NASCAR racing in years. He really came in here intending to muscle his way through. He was able to run with Cale anytime he wanted to today, Jeff.
Yeah, Bobby hasn't let up even right now. He's still got the hammer down and trying to pull away from especially Neil Bonnet and the rest of the pack. He'd like to get as comfortable a lead as he could before that last pit stop comes along. Always could have a problem on a stop, and they could need that extra time. So he's going to try to pull away as far as he can.
Bobby Allison started 8th in today's race, looking for his 7th win of the season. And it could be the key that opens up the magic of the national title. Past winners, Donnie Allison won it in 78. In 79, it was Neil Bonnet. Of course, in 81, he won it. Bobby won it last year, defending champion. That particular combination there, mostly the Alabama gang, has dominated this race in the most recent years. Still Bobby Allison in front. But you saw Cale Yarborough, it looked so good just seconds before, and then moments after, disaster. If it happens to Allison, then Waltrip stands in a position to close right back up in the battle for the championship. Well, certain laps led look to be Allison's today. One of the other things we're going to check on at the finish of today's race is the Goody's Headache Award, and I would presume that the press, there's about 80 members of the press next to us here, and I would think that Cale Yarborough would be up for that $500 award they make at every one of these NASCAR races to the driver that suffers the biggest misfortune. And there have been some others today. The effort of Benny Parsons, of course, that was a sad one, and Dale Earnhardt just coming off with Jack losing a transmission. Will be some that some of the press members that have an affinity for Fords might want to take a look at. Here's the third place. Third place on the field at the present time is 21, Buddy Baker, and there's 44, Labonte, pulling right in with him. 21 and 44 are in the same lap. The 44 Labonte car sandwiched in between them, a lapped automobile. 21 Baker, is running in third. 44, Labonte running in fourth. Petty has fallen back in fifth. Buddy Baker, one of the great champions, winner of 19 Grand National races in his career, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Second-generation driver, and they say there will be a third. A couple of his sons looking very anxiously at motorsports. One of them, a very fine football player, thinks he has a yen to go racing now. Bobby Allison in front. So much has been said about, are these drivers really athletes? And I think Cale Yarborough, ex-football player, was up for the Washington Redskins years ago. Well, sports medicine has made great inroads for many of the professionals and Olympic athletes. And as Dave Despain discovered earlier, sports medicine is now finding its way to motorsports.
Motorsports involves a tremendous amount of teamwork. The Skoll-back drivers in this race, brothers Benny and Phil Parsons and Harry Gant, benefit from the efforts of this team, applying the sophisticated principles of sports medicine to race car driving. The head of the project is Bud Doble. Bud, what's the objective of this program?
Our whole bag is to improve human performance, to help the participants get the optimum human performance from their bodies as related to their job, and to increase the safety of the sport.
We know about the physical abuse that race drivers take, but there's a psychological aspect here. How do you help a Phil Parsons deal with something like his Talladega crash?
I've had many conversations with Phil since that accident, and I think, frankly, that because he was properly prepared for the eventuality of that sort of thing before the race, that when it actually happened, it becomes part of the routine.
Dr. Charles Dillman formerly applied his skills to the United States ski team. Now you're working with race pit crews. What's the application there, Dr. Dillman?
Well, what we're trying to do with the pit crews is, get that 1 second, that 2 seconds in the pit. That's really important for the overall performance of the car. For example, in most tracks, 1 second is more than about 300 yards on the track. So really our objective is to try to optimize their performance. In other words, really get them to work together as a team and try to maybe cut off 1 or 2 seconds in the pit stops.
The primary subject of this interesting project, Benny Parsons. Benny, do you think it'll really help?
Yes, I do. I think that if I were to do is exactly like those doctors tell me to do, that I would be a much better race car driver. I think that's proven by our athletes in the Olympics and even professional athletes, and how that they are so much better today than they were a few years ago. And I think race car drivers or pit crewmen is exactly the same thing. If someone tells us what we need to do, what muscles we need stronger for the job that we do, I think we'd be better off.
Those were just a couple of the principles in a program involving some 20 people from New England to Denver. Buddy Baker, going down into turn number 1, has just, as we watch live here on WTBS, moved around Bobby Allison, and that puts him back in the lead lap. Baker in the 21 has just moved back into the lead lap. And there's Judy Allison working in her husband's pits. Do you believe that Bobby let him go through? 44 is closing. He may be trying to get his lap back. Is something amiss on 22 on Allison's car? Baker has moved around and gone back into the lead lap, and you never like to let a man like Buddy Baker or Labonte back up in the lead lap for if there's a caution. Then they're ready to attack.
That's right, Ken. As strong as Buddy Baker's running, that really wasn't a good move to let him go by. Now, like you say, Bobby might be having a problem, or he just could have felt that he didn't want to strain his car to try to hold him back. Really hard to say.
Well, our crews are down there right now checking on the story in the Dygard pits as to the condition on Bobby Allison's car. We'll follow this story as Buddy Baker has unlapped himself, and now Terry Labonte is moving in. Allison continues to lead, the defending champion here in the Atlanta Journal 500.
Hey, guys, I'm back.
Catch anything?
With 200 to go. go. Bobby Allison is charging back at Buddy Baker. There's the action on the racetrack. Allison had let Baker go by, but now has retaken the lead and put Buddy Baker back a lap down. Remember, Allison is your leader. Baker is a lap car. Jerry Garrett is here. Jerry, we were talking during the break about Allison's strategy, particularly as regards fuel. Is this draft with Buddy Baker related to that?
Well, Bobby only knows how to go one speed, and that's flat out. He's got a big red light on his dashboard. It tells him when the motor blows. Otherwise, he doesn't look at the gauges. He just hammers it down all the way. Now, if Bobby feels like he can go all the way on one tank of fuel, he's going to do everything he can to save fuel. And Dick Berggren is in the pits right now to see what Bobby's strategy is.
I'm with Gary Nelson, Bobby Allison's crew chief. Gary, are you worried about Neil Bonnet behind you?
Well, he hasn't gained any ground at all on us in the last 15 laps, so if he was going to make his move, he would have done it already. We're going to try and keep that interval. You know, we're 3 seconds ahead. We're going to try and maintain that, and hopefully we can keep 21 a lap down just in case another caution comes out, and we'll see what happens.
Is your car all right?
It's in fine shape.
It's Gary Nelson. They're very happy here in Bobby Allison's pit right now. They're on the lead.
Scramble continues with 289 laps now complete. Just 39 laps left. There you see Bobby Allison, and once again, that Baker car has unsnarled itself and pulled back out and to run in the lead lap. That gives us 3 cars in the lead lap. Now, this Atlanta Journal race back in 1966, when it was a 400, was a pivotal race in Baker's career. He got the chance to drive a Ray Fox Dodge to see what kind of potential he had, and he responded, finishing second to Richard Petty that year. And it began a great career for Buddy Baker. Here he is back into 3rd place. Jeff, you've been checking the interval between 1st and 2nd place between number 22, Bobby Allison, and number 75, Neil Bonnet. And what are we looking at?
Ken, even with the lead swapping around between Buddy and Bobby, Neil is still falling back a little bit each lap. So Bobby's stretching it out. And actually, Buddy Baker might be helping him a little bit right now in the draft.
Well, here's Darrell Waltrip, now shown in 8th position. And there is no way that Bobby Allison is going to knock out Darrell Waltrip out of the point championship battle here today. It will go down to Riverside and to decide the championship. And as it did back in '79, when Richard Petty came through, overtook Darrell Waltrip and knocked him out, won by what, 7, 9 points at that last race at that time down in Ontario, California. So here's Allison out in front, but Allison in a far stronger position to finish the season than ever in the past as he comes down to the final laps of this Atlanta Journal 500. Riverside, California, coming up in 2 weeks, and you'll see it live on WTBS. Flag-to-flag coverage. There's Neil Bonnet, 2nd place car, and right behind him, late speed, the car number 1 is actually in 16th position. He had a pretty good start today, and then it fell to the wayside for the Haas-Ellington team. Neil Bonnet, 2 times the winner of this Great Fall Racing Classic, is staying 2nd on the track, and he's looking up at about a 3-second difference between himself and the man in the white and red, number 22, the guy who gave him his break, got him into some sportsman racing, and Neil Bonnet responded by giving Allison and that racing team a lot of great victories. Now, there's the 3rd place car, 21, Buddy Baker, just barely in front of the leader. 3 cars in the lead lap. Back to Bobby Allison in the 22, the leader. The 4th place car is Labonte. 5th is Richard Petty. They are in the same lap. 6th a lap down is Morgan Shepherd. 7th is Bill Elliott. Going 8th is Waltrip. 9th is Dave Marcus. 10th is Trevor Boyce. 11th, Dean Combs. 12th is Jody Ridley. 13th, Sterling Marlin. 14th, Kyle Petty. And a kid from over in Alabama is in 15th, Jimmy Means. There's the 4th place car. Last week's winner, looking for his 3rd Grand National win. He's a lap down. Terry Labonte out of Corpus Christi, Texas. He came off those short tracks, in which one year he won 37 races before he moved up into the Grand National ranks. His dad used to build this car. Now, you're back with Bobby Allison. And the lap situation is this. 294 of the 328 laps have been completed, which gets us down to 34 laps to go. Some breathing room for Allison on the track. Pressure still on for the championship. Richard Petty's car number 43 lies 5th on the field. He's still trying to overhaul. Terry Labonte running in 4th. They are in the same lap. Here's Richard Petty down across the line. Labonte has him by several seconds at the present time. Let's go to Dave Despain.
Again, we said races are won and lost in the pits. We harken back to early in this race. Buddy Baker blistered a tire, came in under green, had to change that tire, and lost a lap. Less than a half a lap later, the yellow flag came out. We told you then, had Baker been able to pit under yellow, he wouldn't have lost that lap at that point in the race. Now, some 300 laps later, Buddy Baker has just gotten that lap back. It's taken him that long to scramble his way back. The car is one of the fastest on the racetrack. The Wood Brothers crew feel very definitely that if they can get a yellow flag here, they can win this race. But it was that half-lap early pit stop early on that caused the problem. Now, Richard Petty had a similar problem, only for him, it turned out to be a good break. Richard Petty got in under yellow. He was having a problem with the car. There's Richard. He's been fighting the handling. The car was loose. He couldn't make it drive the way he wanted to. He was going to have to make an early pit stop. The last yellow flag helped Richard because he was able to come in under yellow and make those adjustments. Let's go now to Jim Roller, who has more on that Richard Petty story. Stand by. Let's not go back to Jim. Let's go instead up to Ken Squire back in Race Central. Ken?
Richard Petty is maintaining 5th position. Now, one of the changes just taken place. Morgan Shepherd pitted car number 2, and Bill Elliott has moved into 6th position. Bill Elliott, who had problems with car number 9 when he rammed the back end of the Cale Yarborough car, has picked up another spot. He's back to 6th. Waltrip's position is now 3 laps down to the leader of the race. There he is, number 22, Bobby Allison, still in front. In the 2nd position, Neil Bonnet, and in 3rd, all in the lead lap, is Buddy Baker. The 4th position, Terry Labonte, and 5th is Richard Petty. Lap situation, 300 laps. This time by 28 to go, 300 complete. There's Buddy Baker on the track, maintaining 3rd spot. What's the most important aspect of getting around this Atlanta International Raceway, Buddy Baker?
It's a super good racetrack. You got good visibility around it. If a car's handling, you make everybody look pretty silly until they get the combination. It's a type of racetrack you can look for good, hard-nosed racing all day long.
And next year, he's back in that car, and he'll be back here twice in the springtime for the Coca-Cola 500 and here in the autumn on a day hopefully as gorgeous as this has been for the Atlanta Journal 500. Baker in 3rd place in the lead lap, drawing away just a bit from leader number 22, Bobby Allison, but not by much. About 15 car lengths separate them now. Caution, and Baker will have a real chance to gather his forces back up and make one more effort to pull this one out. If it stays like it is, it's pretty much over for Baker as far as taking this race home, Jeff.
It is, Ken. I know what he's going through in there. He's just hoping and praying for a yellow flag. And, if it did come out, he'd have a good chance to win this race. His car is awful strong. It's getting through the corners real well, and I know he's just waiting to go for that yellow.
Tommy Gale is 19th on the field. The gentleman that we told you has tried about 225, 230 times to win and never had it go his way. Tommy Gale is up in 19th spot today. His best finish in this race was 15th back in 1980. Still out there trying in the Elmo Langley car. Now there you see the leaderboard. 3 cars in the lead lap. Then Terry Labonte 4th, Richard Petty 5th. Mileage running down. Fuel running low. Question is, have they calculated correctly on car number 22? Now there's 9, Bill Elliott, who is your 6th place car. Bill Elliott moving around Jody Ridley in the 84. And this will not be the day when he wins his first Grand National race, but he's got to win one soon. Remember, that front end is all torn up on car number 9, Elliott. Jody Ridley in the 84, who is running 12th overall on the field, getting by him. But give him some special credit for stick-to-itiveness out here today. Elliott in the number 9. Getting lapped, car number 48, that's Trevor Boyce, one of the outstanding rookies this year. He is from up the Calgary Stampeder, they call him, from Canada. Let's go to Jim Roller.
Leonard Wood earlier mistakes with the crew, and when he fell a lap down, how did you get the lap back? What was the key for you to get back on the clean lap?
Well, we've been trying to get the lap back all day long, and it's just a matter of trying to get back up front, get the chassis adjusted properly, get close enough to the front to pass the leader and try to stay there, you know. And I'm not saying I'm hoping for a caution, but if we have a caution, we'll take advantage of it. That's the only way we can get back in the lead.
Right now, as Leonard Wood said, it's a caution for the car number 21. Ken?
Allison pulls back up. He's trying to put Baker a lap down to the main straightaway. 304 laps now complete in the waning moments. Just 24 laps to go on this mile-and-a-half track. And Bobby Allison doesn't want to fool with Buddy Baker, Jeff. Wants to get him a lap down here.
Well, that's for sure, Ken. Bobby knows that Ford's running awful strong right now, and he's inside of it, trying to put Buddy back down a lap.
And there is Allison to the inside. And there are once again but 2 cars in the lead lap. That car back in 10th that we were mentioning a moment ago, Trevor Boyce, it is the first time that he has run in the top 10 this season. The young gentleman out of Calgary, up in Canada, is up in the top 10 as they fight for Rookie of the Year, he and Sterling Marlin. Bobby Allison and Neil Bonnet stay in that lead lap. Here's Dave Despain.
Catching Bobby Allison. Neil Bonnet is catching Bobby Allison, but Jerry Garrett tells us not fast enough. Jerry, you've been in the Bonnet pit.
I talked to Warner Hodgson, the car owner for Neil Bonnet. He says he thinks that Neil will run out of time before he's had a chance to catch Bobby. Now, he says he's marginal on fuel, whereas Bobby's people think that they have plenty of fuel. But they won't stop unless Bobby does. They'll run the car out of gas if they have to.
So it's a go-for-broke strategy for Neil Bonnet as he tries to run down his fellow member of the Alabama gang, Bobby Allison. Back to you, Ken.
He pulls up behind Lake Speed, then dives underneath him going into turn number 1. There you see Lake right behind him in the Haas Ellington car. There's the Warner Hodgson, number 75, out of turn number 2. Neil Bonnet in that second position, hoping that 2-car draft will help. They swing around some more back markers as they weave their way up through the field. Final moments of this race. Been a dandy for Allison. Was a great one for Yarborough until moments ago when his engine expired. There are now 18 cars retired from the event, the 18th being Cale Yarborough. Just before him, Del McCoward with that wild spin and slide in turn number 1. Can Allison stay in front? Can he sustain this drive toward the championship? About to lap D.K. Ulrich as he goes into turn number 3. Baker staying with him. Top finishing rookie, there you see him, Trevor Boyce in car number 48, now shown in 9th position. 9th position overall, and Sterling Marlin, the other candidate for Rookie of the Year, is back in 15th position. The Roger Hamby, car number 17. A lot of races within a race on the tour, and this young man from Canada doing a great job in the James Hilton car. James Hilton's own son drove his second race, but briefly yesterday. Got it qualified, and then had a little problem before the race began. Now here's Bobby Allison still in front. Baker is right there. And the interval stays at what, Jeff? About 3.5?
Yeah, it varies from 3.5 to a little bit more than that between Bobby and Neil. It just doesn't look like Neil has quite the car that Bobby has. Bobby's car has just been handling great all day, and Buddy Baker and him right now have the better cars out there.
The Atlanta Journal had a dinner on Friday night to honor the past champions of this race. And they made a special presentation to Bobby Allison, and he never seemed more confident about a race than he did that. He didn't want to spell it out. Now here comes Baker back to get his lap back. Meanwhile, Waltrip is getting passed by some more cars. Waltrip seems to be falling back just a bit here. Darrell Waltrip in some more trouble perhaps toward the end of the race as he runs in 8th place. The leadership, 22. Bobby Allison, and again Baker has gone back into the lead lap. The 21 car, the Wood Brothers car, is again back up in front. Lead lap, 3rd place, 311 laps complete, 17 laps remaining, 17 to go. Here is Allison in front. Neil Bonnet 2nd, Baker 3rd. Can Allison keep it going through these final 17 laps and win the Atlanta Journal 500?
Back at Atlanta International Raceway at the STP Pit Communication Center, Bobby Allison is the leader of this race, and he's getting a great help here from Buddy Baker, who at this moment has the fastest car on the racetrack. At lap 316, we've got just 12 to go. We're coming down to a finish. Baker pulling Allison around, and that is helping Allison to keep the second-place man, Neil Bonnet, at bay. Bonnet has been trying to close in, but because Allison has a fast car, Buddy Baker to draft with, it's leaving Neil Bonnet without the option of closing it up. For Bobby Allison, the story of this season and of the race for the championship is consistency. He's finished in the top 5 16 times in 28 races. He's been in the top 10 22 times, and we were surprised early in the race to see how hard he had charged. The story from their pits is the strategy was to lead early, let the leadership changes during the middle of the race work themselves out, and to lead it late. It has been a picture-perfect race for Bobby Allison. Back to Ken Squire.
Got a smoker coming out of turn number 4. Here's Baker running up with Allison wheel to wheel as Kyle Petty's car erupts in smoke. And here's Baker trying to take his lap back as they wheel down into turn number 1. Kyle Petty, car number 7, falls by the wayside. He is the 19th retiree from the event. Kyle Petty out of it. And there is Buddy Baker back into the lead lap another time. Cale Yarborough has won the Goodies Headache Award today. Cale Yarborough, who drove such an incredibly good race after the problems that he suffered a week ago in Rockingham in a very hard crash, gets that $500 bonus. Richard Petty is on pit road. Fifth place car. Petty pulls in, makes his stop.
Richard's run out of gas at a few of these races, so he's not taking a chance here. He came in and got a couple gallons of fuel.
Richard Petty back on the track, and he'll stay fifth. He was a lap in front of the 6th place car, Bill Elliott. There's Bobby Allison, the leader, number 22. Got a crash in turn 4, and the leader is coming by and just missing it. Bobby Allison and Buddy Baker came by 2 cars which had spun and crashed in turn 4.
And Ken, that gave Buddy Baker his chance to make up his lap, so he's going to be in that lead lap right behind Bobby Allison.
320 are complete. 8 laps to go. It's going to be a shootout to the finish. Jimmy Means in the 52 cars. We look at replay. There's one of the cars involved. The 02 Mike Potter here. And there you see the cars spinning as the leaders went by. Had they been up another lane, Baker and Allison both might have bit the bullet on that one. Caution is out. 8 laps to go. Looks to me like the track is fairly clear. Leaders are pitting. And Bobby Allison has run over something. He's coming in. The front end is torn up on his car. He is ricocheted off the wall. He's locked up the brakes. He's cut the brakes down. He's sliding in the pits, trying to bring it to a halt. Does it? He ran over something.
Ken, he blew a right front tire out there when he came into the pit area running over something, and that put him up into the wall. They're working on the car right now, trying to get the fender and everything out away from that tire.
Another dramatic change in the circumstances of the Atlanta Journal 500. They're trying to keep him in the lap. He grazed the wall, as you saw, coming down on a pit road.
They're changing off 4 tires. They must not think there's any problem on the outside. They've done that work. Now they're on the inside, changing the inside tires.
Bonnet comes out. Neil Bonnet comes on. He'll lead. Allison comes out. And look at the front end, a little bent up on the car number 22 as it comes on. That could have been from the tires it disintegrated, which tore up that fender a bit. And Baker is back in the lead lap. We'll get a replay here as to what happened to car number 22, and I think Jeff named it right on the spot. Here he comes onto pit road. And he had cut a tire down, and he just raises the wall.
I've never seen that happen before, Ken. He was coming into pits real nice and easy, and he must have run over some debris there, and it just exploded the right front tire, and it put him up against the wall.
There are now 322 laps complete, 6 to go. Here was Allison trying to get it locked up and stopped. Lucky he got it into his pits. looked to me like he was going to go right clean by them. There's the tire. It just came off. Car number 22, Allison.
Well, you can see that thing is right shreds, and the thing just exploded. He must have ran over something, a real sharp object that punctured both liners. They have inner liners inside those tires for safety protection. It blew both of them out.
0-2, Mike Potter and Jimmy Means' car in collision, and that's what brought around this circumstance of the 6th caution of the day. We've had, what, 27 lead changes among 8 drivers? That's the story thus far. There's Bobby Allison. This marks his 19th consecutive Atlanta Journal 500. And during those years, Allison has driven for all kinds of teams out here. Ironically, his 2 wins in the Classic event, one each for Dygaard Racing, for whom he currently drives, and the other back in '72 for Junior Johnson. And now, of course, Darrell Waltrip drives for him. Well, here they come. 3 cars. They're giving them a 1-lap indication. 1 more lap and they're going to be racing, Jeff.
Right now, Ken, Bobby's trying to feel that car out to make sure the front end is all right. It looks like the sheet metal's bent up a little bit, but I don't think it got into a suspension any. He's working the car, and it seems to be turning okay.
Lining up for a restart. 3 cars battling in the lead lap. 21, Baker. 75, Bonnet, and 22 pull up on the outside. There they are, that trio together. Petty falls in behind them. Pace car has them in tow down the back straightaway. It will pull in. And when they do, how about it? There's Baker back on the point. Is he going to win this race for the 2nd time in his career? And Waltrip still determined to try and get a lap back. Darrell Waltrip still in there, working, fighting with everything that number 11 has today. But they made some changes on the car, and it may have put them backwards a bit. Here we come to the side. When they come to the line, 324 laps will have been completed. 4 laps to go. 4 to go in the Atlanta Journal 500. 24th annual for $306,000 live on WTBS. They're at the line. Baker draws out by a 4-car length advantage. Bill Elliott pits as they come across the line. Car number 9, Elliott running in 6th, pulled in for a pit stop. Meanwhile, Bonnet at number 75 closes on the leader. Into the back straightaway. Baker in 1st, Neil Bonnet in 2nd, Bobby Allison in 3rd. Back stretch into turn 3. Bonnet goes to the inside. All the cars freshly shod with rubber. Here they come down out of turn number 4 to the inside. It is Bonnet, can't find the hole. Back he comes. Baker in front. Allison stays there in 3rd spot, and the aerodynamics look like they've been ruptured on car number 22. He can't make a move with those 2 leaders. Here comes Bonnet again.
Well, Neil is definitely trying to get in front of Buddy, but I think his best shot would be to stay behind him until that last lap. He just might be trying that move right now, though.
There he goes, down the inside as they work. Lap number 326. As they come around, this time we have a new leader. It is Neil Bonnet trying to win this race for the 3rd time. Baker stays there. Now is Baker planning to take a slingshot at him? A couple to go. Now there are 2. 2 laps remaining. Neil Bonnet is 1st. This time by, there will be a white flag and 1 lap to go. Buddy Baker is in 2nd, and Allison has fallen way back. He's 2 seconds back. No contest for Allison now. He'll hold on for 3rd. Waltrip, incidentally, is still in 8th. The battle is for the lead, and Bonnet is pulling away at turn 3.
And coming off the 2nd quarter, Buddy Baker's car went way high. He apparently doesn't have quite the right setup for what he'd like to have, and that really cost him a lot of time.
Harold Kinder drops the white flag. There's 1 to go. Bonnet making the comeback. Looks like he's going to do it. Bobby Allison back there in the 3rd spot as he goes into turn number 1. Down on the inside, there goes Waltrip around him, and there's problems on that 22 car. As they go down the back straightaway, Neil Bonnet in front, Buddy Baker in 2nd. Checkers a 1/3 of a lap away on this 1.5-mile track. Surprising circumstance just at the finish of the Atlanta Journal 500. And after it looked like it would be Arborough's and then it would be Allison's, give it to Neil Bonnet in 75, the winner. Buddy Baker's coming home 2nd. Bobby Allison holding on. He's coming to the line very slowly, but he's across in 3rd place. There is Bobby Allison just crossing the stripe in the 3rd position. 4th will go to Terry Labonte unofficially. 5th to Richard Petty. Morgan Shepherd maybe into 6th, and Bill Elliott in 7th. We'll wait on that final pit stop on Bill Elliott. So the red flag comes down. It's over for today. Darrell Waltrip will finish in 8th position. Bobby Allison in the 3rd position today. And they're checking on those points. It is Neil Bonnet who will journey to victory lane after this great racing event. The Atlanta Journal 500 will be in victory lane in a moment. 500, let's join him there now.
And we're in victory lane with Neil Bonnet and car sponsor Warner Hodgson. Neil, when you saw the trouble that Bobby was having after having tried to run him down so hard, what were your thoughts?
Well, you know, anytime somebody has bad luck like that, you know, I'd like to have been able to drove up there and took the win away, and I hate to see Bobby have that kind of problem, but I've been sitting there myself, had one of these things I thought put away, and have a problem like that. That's just as big a part. I'd like to take just a second. There's a good friend of mine, Arthur Papanassas, that's very sick in Montgomery, and I like to say I want to dedicate that to you, Arthur.
They say generally on a super speedway you don't want to lead the white flag lap, yet you deliberately passed Buddy Baker. Were you that confident in the power this car had?
Well, Bob Rahilly and Butch Mock, the whole Ray Mock Hodgson team put out some effort. The motor was exceptionally strong. I knew that, you know, for a couple of laps I could go awful hard. Early in the race I could run hard on new tires. I'd been pacing myself all race long, and I just kept getting myself in a position where I had to work awful hard. There's no doubt about it, Bobby's car was exceptionally strong, but we put those new tires on Buddy. Buddy was doing all he could do, but they made a difference.
Now, toward the end, when you were trying to chase Bobby Allison down, you got into quite a battle with Lake Speed, didn't you?
Well, the problem there is you can run good by yourself, and when I was running him down a little bit, and when Lake caught me, he was quicker, but he slowed me down because he kept loosening my car up. I didn't have time to mess with anybody. It was time to go, and had to blow the horn there a little bit to get some room.
Now, you only have one more race left with this team before you switch to a new allegiance. This must make you very happy to win this event for them.
Well, I tell you what, these boys here, I've had a very enjoyable year. We started off Daytona, went into Busch Clash, 125-miler, World 600. We come back and win this thing here. It's with mixed emotions that I'll leave. The boys are a heck of a team, but I'm going up to the Johnson Hodgson team next year and be a teammate of Darrell Waltrip, and I'm looking forward to that.
And emotion is certainly the word that underscores this victory lane. Bob Rahilly, the engine builder, reached inside the car completely in tears and surrounded his driver. Butch Mock patted him on the back. Mrs. Hodgson also nearly in tears. It's a very, very happy moment for this team.
Well, thank you very much, Dick Berggren. Bonnet seems to win here in odd years, Jeff. He won in 79, 81, and now he wins his 13th career victory in 1983, and he did it in dramatic fashion. His earlier victory this year, of course, the World 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go to Jim Roller with Bobby Allison.
Hey, Bobby, what happened as you were coming into the pit lane?
Apparently I run over some junk from the two guys that crashed up there and blew a tire out, and I wasn't enough to miss the inside pit wall. It's really unfortunate, but we had a grand run today. A great effort by the crew. I don't know, you know, we could just avoid these little things that have kind of plagued us here. We've had a great season, and you know, I'm just real pleased for Miller High Life and Quaker State and the whole deal. I just really feel good about it.
Down to Riverside now, right?
Right.
Allison gets 175 points. Waltrip gets 142 points. Allison will carry a 60-point lead into the finale at Riverside, which you'll be seeing on WTBS. And there you see the top 10 in today's race. Bonnet coming home first. Buddy Baker in second. Bobby Allison finishing third today. Richard Petty up for fourth. Terry Labonte in that fifth spot when it was over. A tremendous race with a lot of surprises when we get down to the finish today. Jeff Bodine.
Well, it sure was. You know, it's another typical Grand National finish. You never know what's going to happen until that checkered flag drops. And this Thursday, we're going to make an announcement about my effort next year, and we're real excited about that. And we'll be in Daytona for that in February, ready to go.
Well, we'll be at Riverside, California to follow the final batter as they get down to the championship for 1983. For Dave Despain, do we get a word from him? Let's get a quick word from David.
This board was full when we started. Attrition has depleted it pretty badly, and this guy stands at the top of the pack, Neil Bonnet, because he got two good tires on his last pit stop 8 miles from the finish. The pits were the difference. Ken, back to you.
For Dave Despain, that you see each week on WTBS with Motor Week Illustrated. For Dick Berggren, who is with us today, and Jim Roller. For Jerry Garrett in the pits. And for Jeff Bodine, our sincere thanks for joining us today. I'm Ken Squire. It's Neil Bonnet, the winner of the 1983 Atlanta Journal 500.
Today's telecast was brought to you by the all-new Dodge Daytona Turbo Z.